Yeah, it's 11:30, so I'll open it up and just say welcome to all the rowdy outlaws, a bunch of socially unfit, no good, bad folks, but good contesters.
That's why we started it.
Well, welcome everybody. Bob may know the number Roundup, what number this is, because I don't have a clue, but got to be somewhere around 10 or so, I would think.
No, it's a little more. It's we started in 2010. So this would be 11.
This would be 11th then, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, my first one was at the
Tick's house in Tucson.
5RR's house. Yeah, what a place.
That was cool.
That was interesting. Yes.
I remember that. Like, seems like yesterday.
Yeah.
So sorry to pull anybody away from the rock and digi contest today, but you know, it is what it is. I've been making some cues in it just for fun, mostly FT4, which I very seldom ever get on and do. But cues are quick. Not a whole lot of DX, but something to do between getting ready.
Well, Sandy's in the living room. She's going to be checking in a minute or two.
Cool.
Good.
Well, I see a bunch of names and faces here I know. It's always a good thing.
Texas Outlaw. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Bob.
Texas. Hey, Steve.
Mike, you have my video now?
Yeah, I see you, Ray.
Okay.
Yep. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm using the built-in speaker on my webcam.
Yeah,
Yes.
your audio's good.
It's a little thin, but it sounds great.
Well, I'm hoping this will go smooth today. I've got, thanks to Virgil for getting it set up and using the account. It's being recorded, so those who might have to leave early want to see something later can certainly do so. I don't know. I haven't heard from Tim N6WIN, so I don't know if he's going to make it or not. He, some of you may not know, but he and his family all came down with COVID. And I haven't heard the latest yet, but I know he was over in California getting checked out on some things, but that's the last I've heard. So I don't know what the status is. But I figured if not, worst comes to worst, we can all, just put our boat anchors up for sale, see if there's any takers.
Well, that's his whole station now. That's every piece of equipment here.
Yeah, well, I'm a proud boat anchor owner. I don't have any. A little bit before my time.
There's only one thing in this whole room in these two stations that's being manufactured anymore. And that's the Sandy's ACOM 2000A. And that's been manufactured for about 20 years.
Yeah, the K3s are no longer being manufactured.
Right. There's my old lady.
Hey, Sandy. I wouldn't call her old.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Now, old man is more
appropriate. Is an affectionate biker term. She knows what it is.
Hey, there's Ned. Hi, Ned. I see Larry and Richard are in here. I don't see their pictures, but they're here, at least signed in. And of course, we have iPhone. That's a good call.
That's probably, that could be Tom checking in from the bar.
Yeah, that would not be surprising.
No, no, seriously, he's got a big motorcycle ride today, and I think it ends up at the bar or starts at the bar, and he's said he's going to be checking in from the bar.
Yeah, he said he did say that he would check in. So if that's you, Tom, hello.
I don't know how it is on the iPhone, but on the computer, if you right click on your name, there should be a menu that pops up that says rename. That way you can change. Maybe iPhone can identify.
Now, if iPhone is really Tom and he's at the bar full of a bunch of bikers, he probably can't hear anything anyway.
It's hard when you have a beer in each hand to talk.
It is.
Hey, Johnny. Mr. Weenie Pistol.
Hey, John, good to see you.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good.
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah,
You look pretty good for an old guy, Bob.
I do.
Yeah.
Not by my standards.
Hi, RQ.
Howdy.
How are you?
Good. Life is good.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
You enjoying retired life now?
Oh. Yes, sir. I am.
That's good. Richard N7NT, hello. Hi to Bill, WSC.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Bill.
Good, Bill.
Welcome.
So got Bill Straw in there too somewhere.
Yeah, I see him. Oh, I see his name. That's all. And Rick, RIC is around. So it looks like we'll have a decent turnout today.
Hi guys, hope everyone's well. I'm at the gym.
Hey,
Going
Rick.
back to mute.
Okay.
See you don't hear this old guy huffing and puffing.
Yeah, we don't want to see that.
Oh,
We don't want to see that. We don't want to hear that. Again, anyway, Rick. There he is.
uh-oh.
See,
He's going for it.
Smart guy. Smart guy. Here, I got my big glasses.
There you
All
go.
right.
Right.
3D
Trip
time.
time. Trip
3D.
time.
Well, that brings back some memories.
Doesn't it though? I used to give those out at movies.
Got pretty low delay here. Sandy will talk and I'll be hearing her audio coming from her computer in the next room.
That's funny.
Plus her audio coming from her voice almost simultaneously. It's very unusual. We've been on Zoom before when there's a noticeable second or two delay.
So Dave, SS, have you done any antenna work this summer or are you just being lazy?
Oh, it's mainly the latter, but July was so, oh, it was June. June was really, really hot here. Yes, it probably was with you. And then July, we've had unbelievable rain. It's the, I think, second rainiest monsoon in history. So for both reasons, I've sort of been a holding pattern.
Yeah, I hear you. August has been the rainy month for me and for, I guess, a bunch of us around Phoenix. Might have more coming this coming week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That's coming up from Mexico.
Good old Norris coming up.
Yep.
Hey, Mike,
With
this is Ray.
all the rain, the grass has just gone totally nuts. It's like, 3 feet high, and
Yep.
the pollen is humongous. So I'm scratching my eyes out because of the pollen problem.
Are you getting any of the caterpillars down there?
Yep, and butterflies. There's like, I don't know, millions of butterflies around in the yard.
Right?
I had
know,
different-
Grackles that are eating the caterpillars. They're gorging themselves on them
Mm.
out in the backyard. It's fun to watch.
We had worms here for a bit and then we had for about a week, not a week, but toads, baby toads all.
Oh, I've got one of those this morning. I put it up on my Facebook. It was my Facebook photo.
I fished about 30 out of the pool over a week's period of time.
Oh,
Of course,
man.
with the 2 dogs, I got rid of them pretty quick.
That was a food party.
Toad
The
party.
toad party. Toad party,
Toad
yeah.
liquor.
Are they still alive, the frogs in your pool when you pull them out?
Yeah, they were alive, all of them. I took them across the dirt road and dumped them in a kind of an empty lot and said, well, you're on your own now. No freeloading in my pool.
Code relocation.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have sent them to Steve in Texas there.
Yeah.
Well,
Would've been fun.
Sandy mentioned the grackles. We had a couple of hawks, and the hawks left, so the grackles moved in.
Ah, so are they eating your caterpillars now?
I guess they're eating something. I see them back by near where a creek is for so I see them back there munching on whatever they can find.
It's been a bounty this year for everybody, for the
Yeah,
for nature.
For other things too, we're still looking for the roof of our shed. No idea where
The
that.
nature got wound up with it.
Yeah, we had microburst there in July and it took off the roof of this steel shed. And right next to the canal. It may have well ended up in there, but I could not find that thing anywhere in the entire neighborhood.
We have a very strange neighbor that I think got it.
Yeah, well, he's
I think they kept it.
Yeah, could
Probably
be.
nailed it onto their house.
Believe me, it'll be in no shape to put it back on if he, I just hope the damn thing didn't do any damage in the neighborhood. So anyway, we go and order this new shed and the court says, well, we'll deliver your shed on October 1st. Okay, great. So we tarp up the old shed best we can, and it's still raining like hell the last, 2 weeks ago and beyond. So we're still waiting for new sheds. It's always something. And 4 foot weeds, 4 foot weeds that I'm little by little getting to.
It's been a year.
It's been a year.
Hey, Mike, I said I had to leave shortly. I think I'll leave now, but I'll come back. If I'm back before this thing closes up, I'll log back in. If not, I'll see the recording.
Okay, Ray.
Talk to you all later.
Good to see you, Ray.
Take care, Ray. 73.
Right.
So long.
So Richard,
How you
NT, what's
been?
going on with you?
Can't hear you, Richard.
Turn your audio on, Richard.
No audio.
Unmute.
Nope, nothing.
Nothing's going on with him.
Yeah, we see you, Richard, but that's it.
No audio.
He's a strong silent type there.
It's called place ON, OFF switch in ON position.
Ah,
That's it.
I'm a CW guy. What the hell's a microphone?
There you go.
Okay, to answer your question, bought a Flex 6600 last year. Relegated my K3 to portable use exclusively. Took delivery of a Flex Power Genius PGXL this past week. Getting ready
Nice.
to integrate it. I've got the TGXL tuner on order. I'm waiting delivery for that. I was able to put a $500 deposit down on it within the first couple hours that the gate opened up for that. So best guess is sometime in September that it'll show up. Loving the Flex system. I love those 11 pole filters in the front end of my 6600. Boy, those things play nice.
And
In the
then
meantime, we moved into a
PGXLs.
TARDIS. I
Well,
like a TARDIS.
When I'm not pounding brass, I watch a lot of Doctor Who. I've watched
There you are.
I've watched every episode that's ever been broadcast from the very first one to 1963, and I have DVDs from the very first episode up to Matt Smith, which is there's 2 doctors after that. So
Right.
I don't want to go off on that tangent. That's wrong place for that.
Is that show still running or is it just history now?
It's in production right now. It's the longest running science fiction television show in history.
They have a new doctor this time, right?
Yeah, they have a woman doctor for the very first time.
she's
Well,
been
they
around for
had
about
one,
3
but
years.
this is going to be a different woman. I
Yeah.
thought.
Well, there was another woman that showed up who's also the doctor. So they
Right.
introduced the concept of parallel universes or another time stream dealing with a time traveler. That's easy to write into the script. So
Right.
her presence has yet to be explained.
Can you get them to write in some propagation?
I'd like to.
Master, is it?
Well, we could use the TARDIS to go and maybe blow up a sun or two and maybe get some enhanced flares or something.
Well, we got a flux
maybe-
of 90 and a day of 19, just really beachy.
Yeah.
Maybe I could find the roof of my shed then if we had a TARDIS.
I sold it for scrap last week, Bob.
Damn.
How do you think he funded that tuner?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I got a 6-foot inflatable shark that landed in my yard during the last storms, and I haven't figured out which pool it comes to.
Yeah, was that during Shark Week by
That's
any chance?
awesome.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, but yeah, it's still sitting in the back there, and people can see it from the front yard. I'm waiting for the neighbors to walk by and go, "Hey, that's mine."
Oh my gosh.
Hi, Bill.
N2IC portable
Hi, Larry.
6. What's up with that, Steve?
He's
Well,
fighting
I'm
fire
driving
somewhere.
down. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm driving down Interstate 5. We're about to get going at the rest area. Just finished up at a fire and I'm headed home.
Sweet.
Careful, okay?
Well,
worry
it's,
about ya.
it's nice. It's nice to be done with fire, and maybe I'm done for the season. I'm tired.
I'll bet.
You've been running around for months.
Yeah, I have.
Wow.
Uh,
Hey, Bill, KL7SS, am I in your 3Y log yet?
No.
Eh,
Good to see you, Bill.
quite yet.
You look like you're up on the mountaintop.
I am. It's 65 degrees.
Oh,
Oh,
gee.
Flowers. The
Oh,
flowers are blooming outside. Well,
Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Oh my gosh, help us.
Wow,
yeah.
Alice.
But
I'm gonna live vicariously through you then.
well, I don't have any station. Here's the top of the tower right there.
Oh
okay.
God.
Well, I'm not allowed to have the beam up in the summer because people might see it and it's an HOA.
Oh,
Oh,
we won't tell.
Yeah.
bummer.
Very nice.
And I had a chance to visit with Bill and his wife up there at the place. And then after the last Tucson Roundup, and yeah, it's nice up there. Temperature changes rapidly from when you get up that high.
Well, there's Tom from the bar.
There's Tom. Two Tom.
Phone 2, Tom.
iPhone 2 Tom. Hi, Tom.
And some people use two-tone for Riddy, but Tom must use two-tom.
Yeah. We're waiting to see if he's buying around for the house here.
Yeah, he damn well better.
Hey, Mike, do you have a tower basin yet?
No, I have submitted about 2 weeks ago, not quite 2 weeks ago. Hopefully the last submission I got to make for the permit, covering every little detail they asked for. And I got it submitted and immediately got a note back saying, well, you didn't provide the engineering plan. And for like the third time with the fourth different person, I went back and said, no, you've already written off on that. Please check with this person. And I asked him to take it out of the review. Fortunately, he finally did check, said, yes, he did write off on it. The guy says, I'll put a note in the file so that when anybody else sees it, knows that's no longer a requirement. So now I'm just waiting and hoping they say, yeah, and I can get started on a base.
Yeah, we're a pain in the neck.
Yeah, total. And I could go out to Mason, put two 70-foot crank ups up and probably not have an issue. But the county, my God.
Well, that's been an ongoing problem with the county up there, so yikes.
Yeah. But anyway, it's still a work in process. Hopefully it'll get done and I can get something up here for the fall contest season. We will see.
Hope it works out for you. Hope springs eternal.
Anybody else playing in the Digi contest, making any cues?
We've made a few here. We're operating, a non-competitive multi-single using the KG50NN calls, my wife's calls. So we dabbled last year with from the apartment with the loop on the balcony. So
I saw you guys earlier. I don't think I worked you. KG50NN.
Yeah,
I did see you, but not sure I called you guys. But I've been in and out.
Just playing around. It's 2020s with this packed with signals, so it's been kind of hard because I think with the decodes, just because the number of signals.
Well, that's because there's with the A as high as it is, there's not much on 15. I've worked a couple of CEs and the ZW5B, and I think I've made 4 Qs on 15 to South America, but that's been pretty much it. To be expected. We're still in the summertime doldrums, and it's nice. 17 was pretty good last week when the flux first jumped up a little bit. Worked at VU and a couple of other band countries that had to rework to get confirmed. And then flux went up higher and the band got worse. So I haven't figured that one out. Ned's a propagation expert. He can probably tell us.
There you go.
Well, the K was 5. That ain't gonna help any.
No.
Yeah. We had a CMA yesterday or the day before.
Day before.
Yeah, Reinhardt's been on top of that, and KF7E. I came across last night a live cam video on YouTube of a volcano going off in Iceland. It was kind of cool. Watch that for a bit.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It replaces that video of the fireplace.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just probably some guys out there with it's dark, so I couldn't see a guy's face, but he's got a webcam set up filming all this stuff. I can't tell how close he was, but closer than I want to be.
Yeah, we were at the National Park, Yellowstone, at Old Faithful, and we called her daughter, and she said, "Oh, we'll turn around and wave by looking at the cam." And so she watched us from Old Faithful. That was kind of
That's
cool.
cool.
That's cool.
Years ago, there used to be a ham fest up there in West Yellowstone. Used to be called the Wyoming, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, and Utah Ham Fest. It wasn't bad. It was only about a little over 4-hour drive from Salt Lake City to go up there through eastern part of Idaho. So it was a nice drive and fun and cool summertime. But of course, that ended a long time ago. But still, that was back like 1980s, the last time I was there.
Last time they had a ham fest.
It seems like it. I'm not going anytime soon.
Well, they got
I
two
went
fun
to-
ones coming up.
Yeah. We all go down and visit with Don Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Huntsville, and it was from what I've gathered, it was smaller than previous years. A lot of the vendors, I mean, there was no DX Engineering didn't come, Yasu wasn't there, Ken wasn't there, MFJ wasn't there. They actually had a death in the company. One of their guys passed away from COVID. So, but it was still good. It was a good ham fest, and there were some good talks, and I kept my mask on the whole time and vaccinated, hope for the best. So it's kind of just.
Cool, nice.
Go and do it.
Hey, Dan, K9DR, how you feeling, buddy? Turn your audio on, Dan. You're muted.
Unmute the audio.
It's a little microphone with this little stripe through. Should be down in your left corner. No, still can't hear you.
There
you
go. Took
There
it
you
about 5 tries to unmute it there. Feeling better. Still a little rocky after 10 days in the hospital, but feeling better.
Yeah, well, that was not really planned.
No, it wasn't. I had a collapsed lung that was not, well, I was told there was a 30% probability and I won.
I got an air pump. They could have called me.
Bicycle pump.
Yeah, I was connected to a vacuum pump for about 5 days there.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, sure did.
Are you in Wyoming
Thank
right
goodness.
now? Are you
What's
in
that?
Wyoming? Are you in Wyoming
No,
right now?
No, I'm here in Mesa right now.
Oh, okay.
I
Glad.
imagine you still got some follow-up to do.
Oh, yeah, I might be able to sneak away for a week or two between now and deep snow, but I have meetings with a doctor all the way out through November.
Wow, okay.
Well, I'm glad you're getting better.
Yeah, the purpose was to go in and improve my breathing, and that part has appears to be functioning. It just got knocked down because I had that pneumothorax.
Scary stuff. Okay.
Oh, glad you're home and at least feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm ready to get back on the air. I'm working with Hector to try to get things straightened out on my antennas here in Mesa. So,
Oh, well, you might as well talk to K7WP. He might need Hector for a bit, and N7IR maybe, or there's a few.
yeah, if we could, I don't have a bunch of stuff, and he almost was going to do it for me on Friday, but I was the only job, and he was going to have to spend $250 to stay overnight, and on and on. So if we could get three of us together, I'd make it worth his while.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hector's coming with me to Safford to put the EME antenna back up right after labor. So.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Well, maybe you can catch us on the way back, or
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So.
And I'm now officially an Arizona resident, by the way.
Okay.
But I will still QSY to Wyoming from time to time to create pileups in 6 meters.
Another DM43 CQ guy. That's what we needed.
On 6 meters?
On six-
Oh,
on
yeah.
6
6
meters,
meters.
yeah.
We don't have enough of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing coming up there is W0XR will be in Delta Mike 51 from September 2nd to 7th for those that are chasing grids on 6.
Where's that?
It's down by southeastern Arizona.
Okay. I'll have to look that one up.
I tried MSK 144 last week for the first time and shocked myself. I actually worked a couple of grids. I'd worked them previously, but on eSkip, but hadn't tried anything on Meteor Scatter yet. I've got this arc over north of Arizona and towards New Mexico where there's all these grids I haven't worked yet. So I thought I could use MSK 144 as a tactic to try and fill in those close in grids.
Yeah.
The other half of that is actually getting people on the air in those grids.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess from what I've been reading and whatnot and everything, all the information I found, Saturdays and Sundays, I guess, are the hotbed times outside of contests, which is what I've been doing, just sitting there. The first time that a rock burned and I got a +11 on the signal strength, I about fell out of my chair. What the hell was that? And it was pretty fun to watch it on the screen for the first time. I'd seen videos of it, but actually to participate in it and see it, marveled at the software and its ability to grab the data in such a short period of time.
Yeah, well, if you're looking, Jack W0XR, who lives in Yuma, he's in Delta Mike 61 right now, through the first, and then he's moving on to 51.
Okay, I'll
So
point my antenna.
Close in grid, and he's on Meteor Scatter 50.260.
Okay, I'm using whatever WSJT pulls up, and I widen up my pan adapter on Flex to see what else is going on. I really like being able to see a wide chunk of the band in one gulp. That's real handy.
So you don't have that PGXL running SO2R yet?
I don't have antennas to support SO2R operation, so I'll have to forego that for the time being, unless I move.
Nice.
But yeah, I can be heard. It's fun watching PSK Reporter and watching it light up and going, crap, he's still not hearing me. I was doing that chasing 5T5 PA for several days, and I finally got him on 4 bands.
Nice.
So, and then been trying to fill out zones. I finally worked zone 22 the other day on 17 meters. I worked 2 VU2 stations in a span of a couple of minutes of each other. Heard a 4S7, but no joy. Now I'm chasing zone 34 for my last zone.
You'll get it. There's been not much activity out of 34.
Well, there was a Z81D on South Sudan, And I heard people calling him and working him, but I couldn't print him. So I just have to keep sitting there and the old fashioned button sharing, be ready for it when it happens.
All right, guys and gals, it's noon. So I'm going to start this shindig. There's nothing going to be too fancy about it. It's going to be pretty casual. But as Bob said, this is our 11th Arizona Outlaws Contest Club Roundup. I'm sorry it had to be virtual again this year, but it's probably the safest thing to do currently with the Delta variant and the rising COVID rates. But hopefully next year we'll wait and see. It's already been too long for me anyway, to not be able to get together with folks. So what I'm going to do is instead of letting everybody speak at the same time, I'll just kind of run through who's on here. Call your name, please say hi to everybody. If you got something you want to say, any comments about your station or contest season, feel free to do so. So Dave, K2SS, you're the first guy I see in my screen, so I'll turn it to you.
All right. Excuse me. Good morning, everybody. Dave, K2SS Portable 7, probably maybe better known here as N7 Tango United. I'm trying to put a station together, but I find it amazing people can keep stations working with 6 bands, and I can't even do 1 band. But, well, maybe we'll get better. Anyway, great to be here, and hopefully see everybody in Tucson next year.
Thanks, Dave. Ned, you're next up.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Good to see everybody here. Still playing architect of the NA7 TV station out in Safford. We're hoping to use the big new antennas we put up out there this coming season. We're having a slight technical problem with the network, incredibly high delays, almost 2-second delay through the network. I've run some trace routes. I think I found the problem. I got to work with somebody to get that going. It's just unusable on CW or sideband right now. FT8 is okay if you just don't drink too much coffee. I'm actually starting to tear down my antennas here on my home property. It's kind of a plan I've had all along. If I start building and using the remote more, I will not need to have the antennas here. So I'm going through a renovation around here, adding a parking area for a recreational vehicle I'm getting, so I can do some rovering next summer on 6 meters. So got a lot of plans for things coming up in the future that involve radio. So that's it from here.
Thanks, Ned. Sandy, N7RQ.
Howdy. Well, you just said my name, so Sandy N7RQ. I don't have a whole lot to report here. We've got 80 and 160 down for the week, the summer here. So I'll let Bob tell you about the details of the station right now. So I've been doing just a minor amount of contesting, but enjoying goofing off this summer after retiring on March 1st. So anyway, just had the opportunity to see our granddaughter for the first time since March of 2020. And that was a joy. And anyway, that's it.
Thanks, Sandy. N7NT.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I've talked already about my movement into my flex-centric station. To expand that, I bought a Q5 signal 5-band UHF VHF transverter that covers 2 meters through 23 centimeters. So I'm in the process of trying to architect some kind of an antenna structure to support that, and doing my cable loss maps and struggling over how I'm going to feed it and that kind of thing. I think I can put a couple of sections of Roan 25 on the west side of my house and bolt it to the house, which circumvents Mesa's rules for having to require a permit, and then put a tree of antennas on top of that. So trying to engineer that while rebuilding my station with the flex-centric. Since I bought the screenless version and everything's all on the monitor, I've got a nice big open gap in the front of my console where I can put a lot of radios and stuff in it. So there's a hole that needs to be filled. So it's going to be VHF and UHF related equipment and maybe some band decoders that I'm working on as well to take care of some automation, probably something Arduino based, but that kind of thing. I've been retired officially a couple of years ago, and just kicking electrons around, trying to fill in and play band slot bingo with things I'm missing and need confirmations, and working new ones. Coming up, work 235 already so far, so I'm kind of jazzed about that. I never thought I'd ever work this many countries in my life. So just trying to fill in holes. That's it.
Thanks, Richard. Dan, K9DR.
Well, thanks, Mike. A lot of you hear me on the air as WA7AN, which is my so-called club call that I use when down here in Arizona. I am maintaining my Wyoming QTH, but we'll be spending more time down here. Looking forward to the fall contesting season. Hopefully Hector can get things put together back up on the tower that was damaged during the monsoons earlier this summer. And as you heard earlier, I did spend 10 days in the hospital for a lung procedure, which has been successful. And for some reason, my pocket is ringing here. Excuse me. Let's see. Yeah, basically that's it. A little bit beat up after that stay in the hospital, and real glad to be in my own bed, I'll tell you. Now, that's the worst part of hospitalizations. And again, just looking forward to the contest season, and hope to get some points for the club.
Glad to have you at home, Dan. I thought maybe the DX was calling you in the gigahertz band, but Steve, KJ5D.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and hope everyone's doing pretty well. Glad to be on here virtually. And you know, when you talked about having it in person, one potentially, I was thinking, oh, maybe it would be a good chance to drive out there and see. So maybe next year that will happen. But as far as radio stuff, kind of the big change for me this year was my wife and I purchased a home and finally closed in January, got moved in, and so finally in May got my antenna up. We're on a half acre here with no HOA, so going to be able to enjoy the hobby a bit more. Put up a 6B TV and got a couple of rigs and just playing around in the contests here and there when I can. And I plan to eventually get up an 80-meter dipole at some point. Not sure that's going to happen this year, as we're also expecting our first child. So a lot of big changes this year, and so who knows how much time there'll be for radio. But hopefully we'll still be able to, you know, do some ladder points for the club and work you guys. I know I worked with you during the CWTs and stuff like that, so that's always fun. So I'll catch you guys on the air, 7:30.
Congratulations, Steve.
Yeah, congratulations.
Great.
Our host for today, hosting the Zoom, Virgil, K7VZ.
Yeah, Virgil, K7VZ. Joined this group last fall, so this is the first roundup I've joined you guys on. I've been kind of hanging out with the CADXA group for the last few years, chasing DX, and so I've dabbled in a few contests to kind of up my DX counts, but other than that, nothing too exciting here.
Well, we sure appreciate you doing this for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Virgil.
Bill, K6WSC.
Good afternoon, everyone. New in my shack is got rid of all my radios and bought an FTDX10, which I absolutely love, and we'll soon be getting another one for SO2R. Can't say enough about that radio. And later on during this meeting today, I will give a presentation on the Arizona QSO party. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Larry, KE2VB.
Thanks, Mike. Really haven't done much with radio this year. other things have gotten in the way. But we're hopeful that come the fall, we'll be back at WATK and reactivate that multi-single. I know Tom is anxious to get the team together, and I'm really anxious to get back on the air. But some family stuff needs to be dealt with first. So that's what's been taking up the time. Back to you, Mike.
Cool. Thanks. Bill, KO7SS.
Well, hi. So no antennas up here because of the HOA in the summer. And actually, it turns out that's a good thing. I lost a skimmer receiver 3 weeks ago to a lightning strike. But anyway, so it's kind of good not to have anything plugged in up here. I had a good contesting summer remotely. Did the WPXCW from WW1X in Maine, and then the IARU was fun. That was remote from Maine. And then the Worked All Europe from 9 Alpha 5 SSS, which was probably the most fun I've had in 20 years, running around begging QTCs and copying them. Anyway, that's the story from here.
Good. Thanks, Bill. Don, K7NN.
Hi, Mike. It's K7NN, Don. Nice to see you guys. Hi, Ned and Mike and everybody on the Outlaw contest, guys. So nice to see everybody's faces, and we'll look forward to seeing it in person maybe next year, hopefully when things settle down a little bit. Kind of interested to see what this corona mass ejection we're going to do coming up the 30th, coming off the sun. I don't know if you guys talked about that before, but that might be kind of an event the way they're describing it anyway. I got my 332nd country on digital, and that was Azerbaijan. I just got it confirmed yesterday, so I was happy about that one. That was my latest. Anyway, I see you, Mike and Ned, quite active quite often. I see you on my screen, so it's nice to see your faces. So everybody take care.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. Reinhard and Ingrid, K7RGG and W7ISG.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
It's really good seeing everybody. We have been traveling, camping quite a bit, usually take the radio and antennas along, so we're having fun.
Cool. I'm glad you guys are in town. Well, maybe you're not in town. I don't know. Are you in town?
We are actually in town right now. We're in our guest room when you come.
Nice. Well, good to see both of you. Kevin, W9CF, and Linda, N7LR. Kevin, not hearing you.
Well.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, it's good to see everybody, and I'll turn it on to Linda.
No.
She can tell us
Oh yes, I'm the radio guru around here. It's good to see everybody.
Glad to have you with us, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Scotty, W7SW.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. Still playing a lot of CWDX, call CQ a lot, and have lots of fun seeing what comes back. Nothing too exciting. Put back up a Force 12 4BA for the 10, 12, 15, and 17 meters. So it's up and running now with those bands opening up a little bit. That's about it. Things are good. Lots of time to play radio with all the COVID stuff. We're real conservative here. We stay at home, keep away from people, still work out a bit, but other than that, we're just here.
Cool.
Mike?
John Arthurs, K7WP.
Hi, everybody. Good to see everybody. And hey, RQ. Just great to see all the faces, for Pete's sake, hearing you on the air and all. Thanks for the cues. Nothing new here, just the same setup for the most part for the last 15 years. So everything's still working pretty well for the most part. But I just want to say it's a real privilege to be a part of and with all you. And just great to see you all. Mike, I want to thank you for taking over this year and doing a great job keeping things going. We really appreciate that. And Victor Zulu, thanks for doing this, getting this squared away today as well. Just good to see all of you. And thanks for, again, for being a part of all this. It's proud to be a part. Go ahead, Mikey.
Well, thanks, John. K8, I'm Alien, Bob Detroit Epstein.
Yes, sir. That's pretty good.
Detroit.
Nothing much to report. All I know is this station is far from being contest competitive right now on an all-band basis. Lots to do. Lost a couple receiving antennas in the microburst along with part of that shed. That's got to be worked on. I got some stuff on the tower that's aging that I've been talking about looking at and replacing, i.e. fixing for the last year, and I haven't done a damn thing about it. That's gotta be done. I've got one piece of equipment here in the shack that needs some TLC also. So hoping to be ready for the fall contest season, the major contest season. But right now I just gotta keep plodding ahead little by little. And good to see all you guys. And Virgil, good to see you. I've never met you before. Ditto Don. I think everybody else here I've seen before. Yeah. And good to see you again, Richard. Been quite a while. And Dan, sorry to hear you about your collapsed lung. I had a situation when I was 22 or 3. I had the same thing, and that was awful. And I was in shape then. I don't think that'd be real great now. I'm glad you're out of the hospital. And that's all I got, Mike.
Thanks, Bob. Fred, NA2U.
Hello. Not much happening here. Thank goodness we got the remote setup going down in Safford, though. I fired up my Flex earlier today, and I don't know if Windows Updates has done it in or something, but I couldn't get hardly anything to happen. Could not get WSJTX to work. If I found some spare time, I guess I could kind of mess around with it here, but even if I get it working, it's not like working the remote. Had not too much contesting. I only made 35 queues in the WAECW. That's because we were having latency issues with the internet in Stafford. The fun this summer though was working 16 new countries on 6 meters. I'm actually up to 18 countries now. Not really contesting, but it's radio excitement for me. That's about all I got.
Thanks, Fred. Fred is knocking on the door of 2000 for the DXCC challenge. He'll get there, I'm sure, this fall once conditions pick up.
I can see the door with binoculars.
Yeah. Thanks. Steve, AA7 Victor.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear and see me. Having some computer problems here, but I'm on the cell phone now, so it's good to see everyone. I'm not doing much radioing. Trying to work it in between the regular 40-hour-a-week job and on the road a lot. Still, once COVID let up for a little while, they put us back on the road to see customers, but now it looks like that's all going to come to a stop. Who knows, right? Good to see everybody, and be safe out there.
Thanks, Steve. Rick, W0RIC.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
For some reason, I'm not hearing anybody on my speaker. I just got out of the car about 5 seconds ago, and the Bluetooth didn't reconnect. Why don't you come back to me in a minute?
Okay, we'll do that. Let's go to Steve. Are you able to talk N2IC? He may not. He may be. Were you there, Steve?
Don't see him. Looks like he's gone.
Yeah, I'll come back. John, N6HI.
Well, I don't have a camera here. Can you hear my audio?
Yes, we can.
Ah, hooray. Well, let me just quickly say I'm pleased and proud to see faces that I've never seen before. A lot of you, many of you have worked on a year in the contest and really had a blast. I'm pleased and proud to be a member of the club and having a lot of fun with it. So I'll say 73 to everybody, and Bobby got to run and take care of the puppy.
Thanks, John. Gary, N7IR. Okay, come back. Owen, are you here?
I'm back.
Rick is back.
Okay, go ahead, Rick.
Hey guys, good to hear everybody. Just walked in from the gym, still out of breath. Kim and I went and got our hour a day workout in, so that's good. All is good here. Let me think. Somebody mentioned they did some meteor scatter. I did some meteor scatter back on that last meteor shower we had and worked 2 or 3 stations on that and got all excited again. So that was very cool. And I'd like to do more of that. Don't know that much about it, but they're confirmed.
All
So
right.
that's really
Check 1,
cool.
2.
Check 1, 2. Hi, Owen. Still have my 60-foot vertical down. Probably wait another few weeks and then get that up. Hopefully it'll start cooling off. It's about an hour project to get the whole thing guide. So looking forward to that for the fall and winter contest season. And other than that, everything's good. Just been dabbling a little bit on this worldwide digital thing. Spent some time yesterday with John N9NA. Got him set up with WSJTX. So he's cranking, getting some outlaw points. So that's good. He's all excited. This is like a kid in a candy shop. Reminds me of that first DX contact, you know, and what's John, 80, 81 years old and raring to go now on digital. So less QRM on phone and CW. Other than that, everyone be safe and it's good. And Scotty's new antenna is working real good. Our lights dim over here when he's hitting the old key over there. We're that close.
That's cool. Thanks, Rick.
Love
Owen,
it. Thanks, guys.
you here now? Owen?
There he is.
I thought I heard him in there earlier. Yeah. Okay, it seems like the only ones I've missed are Steve N2IC, Gary N7IR, and Owen. Anybody else on here that I missed?
Owen's going to retry it, looks like.
Okay. Well, feel free to pop in, Owen, once you're up and running. Okay, well, I'm waiting for that. I know we're supposed to have a presentation coming up by Tim N6WIN. As I said earlier, he and his family had some COVID issues and some other things, so he's not logged in. So I'm assuming that he's just not able to do so. But I can, both I and maybe Bob K and I can pitch in on some of the updates he's done. I know he added, since the last presentation, he added, I think 6 or maybe 7 over 7 on 15 fixed on Asia. He's got 2 40s up. He originally was going to put 2 4-element 40s up stacked. I'm not sure if that's happened yet or not. He fixed one of the 15s that was broken. He works with Bill, W9KKN, and Marty, and N1C, something called MOAS, which is the mother of all switches. It is not a commercial available product, but these youngsters, I mean, they're youngsters, have developed this switching scheme that is just incredible, that pretty much allows Tim to choose any antenna, any combination antennas on any of the 3 radios they have available. And I know Steve AA7V is operated from out there too, so maybe he might have some things to add. But he's using 370 ICOM 7610s. They perform extremely well. I've operated one contest out there, ARRL sideband contest, I think it was, which we won multi-single, which was nice. It's always fun to beat the East Coast at their own game. That doesn't happen all that often from out here, but it's proven it can happen. Bob or Steve, you have any comments you want to add about Tim's station?
Tim's got a third 40, full-size 40, 4-element 40 somewhere in that pile he got from K3LR. So I know that's in his plans. I was fishing through some stuff here where you were talking, and you pretty much got all the updates I have, Mike, other than that one.
Okay. Yeah, I
I
know
got a
he.
question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, could you take a minute and just tell us band by band what he's got? Because I don't remember. I know he's got a lot of stuff. But if you
Yeah,
get-
you know, and Bob and Steve pitch in too, because I'm going by memory here, but I know that on a crank up tower, he's got two tri benders, 70 and 40 some odd feet that are stacked, so we can use them as a stack or individually. I believe the top one rotates. I think the bottom one is fixed towards Europe. That's one tower. He's got three other towers. They're made by Tashian Towers, called a T26. They're massive. They're bigger than Roan 65. They're 130 feet tall. They're only guided in two spots, solid as a rock. Tim uses a lot of green heron interfaces too to remote a lot of this stuff. I know he added about 4 or 5 more runs of inch and 7/8 or inch and 5/8 hardline from the towers to the shack to feed more antennas. He sits on about 5 acres. And on that 5 acres, and I'll go through the antennas in a second, there's also several beverages, JA, Europe, I think South America or something like that. There is he's planning a 4 square. I don't think that's up yet because he's got a 280 meter antennas or a 160, which is basically like a T vertical between two towers. And he uses something called a 1 tower for 80. It's a rotatable dipole tornado that's tunable. So he can tune it for whether you're on sideband or CW. It's pretty effective because it's like at 145 feet. Then on 40, there's a 4-element OWA design. That's about 130 feet. I know he's got a second one planned someplace down around 70 feet or so. And then he's got a JK antenna 404C, I think it is. It's got the coils, and that's on a second separate tower. It's also rotatable, so he can run both at the same time. He can run them in different directions, even though they're on
Here,
separate
Mike.
towers.
He's here. He's here now.
Who?
Tim.
Tim.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, man.
Hey, Timmy.
I was worried about you there for a bit.
Yeah, we were worried.
Nothing like making sure that your presentation is done at the last minute. Like college, all over again.
We were just trying to fill in Scotty about all the stuff you got in the air. So I'll kind of let you take over. When you're ready, we can share the screen and you can go from there.
Oh, and Owen says his audio issues are resolved.
Okay. Well, Owen, you want to jump in real quick?
No, I don't have anything to add at this time, but busting through the audio issues was a major significant. I got to take a rest over that one. That was crazy.
Computer problems are no fun at all. Correct. But hey, I'm glad you're here, Owen. Thank you. Owen, by the way, had a backup for us from the Radio Society of Tucson for Zoom, and if we couldn't work out locally here. So we sure appreciate that too, Owen. Thank you. All right, Tim, let's move on. It's time for your presentation. And if you want to give everybody an update, how you're doing, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, if you guys hear me cough a little bit, I'm getting over pneumonia. I'm not sure at this time if it was valley fever from helping clear a local horse arena, one of my neighbors, or if it was COVID related. So I may have to interrupt just a little bit sometimes in regards to that pneumonia. Everything's going well though. During NAQP sideband, had John W4IX come over. He finished second place on the West Coast, just behind N5ZO, 6th overall it looks like, as K7RL was having a lot of fun doing high power up in Washington. Anybody watching the scoreboard would have seen him in second as far as the scoreboard looked. But he was just goofing off, enjoying his newly repaired rotor. So John had a great time over here. Unfortunately, because of the pneumonia, I was lacking energy to give him the full option of antennas along with SO2R capability. I believe had we done that, he may have finished in the top 5 without a problem. But as most people in Arizona have taught me, the summer monsoon season isn't the best time to have all the equipment set up. So that's what I'm coming off of personally, a little trip to the ER during that weekend to figure out that the pneumonia was indeed a real thing, and that that's why the flu, COVID was lasting a little bit longer than expected. Okay, well, let me see if I can't do a screen share here and start the presentation that I've been asked to do.
I made you co-host, so you should have access.
Okay, it looks like I do. Can everybody see this PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, let me start it then. And let's see if it gets going here. Here we go. Yeah, I believe you guys probably see this title bar up top, or do you just see the PowerPoint?
Just see the PowerPoint.
Perfect. Okay. So this is a presentation for my station here in N6WIN. We go by ND7K during the contest, as everybody probably knows. And it's an update to the station architecture. So we'll be going over the goal for this season, contest season that just passed. So there is a brand new satellite image of the QTH from Google. What TX antennas were planned during the year, the RX antennas planned, shack and equipment shed upgrades, how it's been working, and what's planned next. So the goal, very similar, it's pretty much my slide from before, to be able to win domestic contests, to be competitive in DX contests from our region, to have fun exploring prop from the Southwest, have a reliable emergency communication ability out here in the rural area of Wickenburg, and to have fun with friends. This is a brand new satellite image from Google that is, I believe, it was taken in April. Shows where the house and shack here are up on the north side of the QTH. The left-hand side is 5 acres that I own. The right-hand side where the beverages are shown is 5 acres that I've sold to my best friend. He'll be building in about 9 or 10 years when he retires. So for now, I've worked out a deal with him. I walk his property and take care of it. In return, I get to run my receive antennas. So it's a pretty darn good deal. The towers are shown on the center of the left-hand parcel, mine. We've got the T70NA stack. That's basically a crank-up tower, a 70-foot crank-up tower that has what I call my North American stack. It's a couple of mid-tries that are stacked from JK. There's also a 6-meter antenna on that tower that I use for another purpose besides contesting. On the northern tower is a 130-foot fixed tower. It's basically R65 plus. It's a couple of inches wider, much thicker legs, W bracing, and a climbing ladder, which is the same for the other 2 fixed towers. It's 130 feet tall, and the northern one basically is a 40 and 10-meter tower. To the southeast is another one of those 130-foot towers, the exact same thing. It's my 2015 tower to Europe, I call it, as the fixed antennas are either to Europe or W1, and the tops rotate. The JA tower is in the southwest, out by my shooting range, and it is appropriately labeled JA is again the fixed lower antennas. They're all fixed to JA, and the top rotates. This tower is an all-band tower. It has the 80-meter rotatable that Mike was talking about at 145. And then going down the tower, there's some 20-meter stacks, some 15-meter stacks, 10-meter stacks, and there's a single 4-element 40 on it also that rotates. Receive antennas, currently 1 wavelength long beverages. One's fixed to Europe. A new one has been added to the east. I call it east-west as I plan to make it reversible. And there's a JA beverage that is also being run. The JA and the European beverages are insanely quiet. The Eastern beverage, there's some houses around the property, all around except to the west. And the East beverage does pick up maybe half an X unit of extra noise, but it's not bad. The noise out here is typically somewhere between S0, sometimes below S0. If I turn the preamps on, sometimes when I go to preamp 2, depending on the band, I might have S1, possibly S2 noise on the transmit antennas, with the beverages being even quieter. The planned antennas. In red here, I've kind of highlighted the planned antennas that occurred during this last year. There was Hector XE2K as my antenna installer. I built the K3LR 8-element OWAs that I received to back up. But when I did my last presentation, I was actually on the road to K3LR to pick up a number of antennas. And some of them were already on hand that I added this year, and other antennas came from that run. These 8-element OWAs that are fixed to either Europe or W1 were added at 90, 60, and 30 feet this year. And there is a fourth one planned to go up at 120, but that'll be under the next year's or this current contest season's plans. There was a couple of 10M7s that I had picked up on my first haul from K3LR that were built, and had Hector and his brother come over and install them at 80 and 45 feet to JA. And not shown on this particular picture is two 15-meter 7L OWAs that I homebrewed. And those were installed by Hector and I at 120 and 90 feet on the JA tower. Those are also fixed to JA along with the 10M7s that were added. So during this contest season that just passed, we had the addition throughout the season that was added. Before the worldwide DX contest, there was the 888 10-meter stack added. And then before WPX, there were a couple of different additions. Before WPX CW, or sideband better yet, there was the 10M7s added to JA. And then before CW, the not shown 15-meter stack was added. As most of you know, in Arizona, home brewing a couple of 7L OWAs on 15 during, was it March, and installing them proved to be a bit, it was about April, proved to be a bit hot. And so Hector and I had a good time installing those on as the summer approached. Picture here to the left, this is what the antennas and towers look like just before WPX sideband. And then this antenna up here, 120 feet, is a 7L OWA that is for 15 that was added just before WPX CW, along with another one at 90 feet. You can still see some of the rigging that Hector got together here on this lower one in this picture. The receive antennas, the EU beverage used to be just under 500 feet long. It was extended to 580 feet. John W4IX had come over to help me with these early in the contest season. We moved the JA beverage from my parcel. It was at that time more like a 350-degree beverage, not quite JA, but we fixed that and we installed it to run 580 feet towards JA itself. And we really nailed the directionality on it. The East beverage, to be upgraded to East-West soon, was added down here in the south, and it's also 580 feet. I got 580 feet from N2NL. He had let me know that that was a number that he had read and had gotten from good references that would be pretty good. And I knew it could fit on my property. And so they're running really great. All the beverages have 3 ground rods at both the feed point and termination point now, as the ground out here is pretty cruddy for performance of the antennas. And so I wanted to increase the efficiency. And so John and I added a number of beverage ground rods during our time on the ground there. I have a friend that comes over with a backhoe, and one of the things that was also added during this year was some additional trenching so that I could add conduit to upgrade some RG6 to RG11. That conduit's 18 inches underground. It runs to all the receive antenna feed point areas. RG6 flooded is used above ground because of varmint reasons. I believe I have bunnies here, from what I can tell is my main problem. And they like to bite into the smaller coax. They're leaving my hard line alone, but they're biting into the smaller coax. And so I'm running RG6 flooded above ground because it's cheap to replace, and the flooding compound sort of stops them at that outer layer and gives me some additional waterproofness, even though they're chewing up that cable pretty good. I wouldn't run RG11 above grade for that reason, as the access that I have to it isn't really a great flooded setup. Common mode chokes and grounding of the shields was added at 12 yards from all feed points. And then from there, the coax for the RX antennas go underground. And that's something that I picked up from W8JI. He really advocates that on his website. And I consider him to be a pretty good source as to what is a good way to deal with receive antennas. Shack upgrades. Marty, NN1C. He has really come out here and done a lot of work before each WPX. He's come out for up to a week beforehand and lives on site in the trailer. And he really busts his butt to add stuff. The big thing is the MOAS, the mother of all switch. Paul, I believe K1XM, he's the one of the brains behind it. And he's provided Marty and I with a lot of software writing just before each contest in order to make sure that the system works well. And of course, Marty knows so much. It's a very complex system. I can't really discuss too much about it because it's way above my pay grade as the owner. But the bottom left here is a picture of what Marty's science projects, as we call it, is. And he asked me, because of everything going on here that I'll explain a little bit more, to add some additional hard lines. So we we dug a new trench and added 6 hard lines the last time Hector was over. And that goes from the shack down south here on property to the equipment shed. 4 additional RX lines were added for some of what we've done in regards to increasing the receive capabilities. The larger black box here is a K9AY custom 8x4 switch for receive. And that was added inside the shack along with the MOAS and a number of other things I'll get into by Marty to give us some increased capabilities here. Big thing, excuse me, about the MOAS is that band partners can select any combination of transmit and or receive antennas automatically. It's on the fly based on PTT and custom software that Marty is writing. What that means is that, let's just say, I don't know, on 20 meters, there's 3 different stacks here, and the total of antennas is 7. 7 transmit antennas are available to the operators to use. And of course, they can use the 3 beverages too. And so what we do is that, let's just say that your runner is, I don't know, let's say he's running all 3 stacks, maybe even in 4 different directions, depending on what he may want. Let's say WPX during certain bands opening segments. And his in-band partner, he wants to pick off somebody over in JA while the runner is shooting in all different directions to protect his frequency, and mainly running, let's say, East Coast, maybe a little bit of South America, and the JA also. But his in-band partner, he's got somebody over in JA that's some good points, and he wants to be able to work that JA station. And when you're sending signals in 4 different directions, the JA station may not be as loud. Well, with the GUI that Marty sets up on the software end, the in-band partner can say, I only want to hear to JA. I don't care about where my runner's transmitting to. And when he transmits, he's blowing me up on those transmit antennas So when he's running, I only want to hear on a good beverage that isn't being blown up by the transmit antenna options that are being used. And so through a GUI, the in-band guy can select whatever he wants. Maybe it's that example, maybe it's another, while the runner is doing whatever he wants. And there's no need to, maybe hot switch or have to throw switches, rotary dials, etc. Every single time that the runner is done transmitting or wants to transmit. It's all done on the fly via PTT and software. So it's automatic. There's no way to mess it up. And the only way you can mess it up is just by not being creative enough in figuring out what the solution to your problem is. In addition to that added capability, any operating position can be on any band. So we have 4 or 5 tables in the shack set up for some of the multi-multis. And traditionally, you're probably going to have one band at a given table. But if something fails, or we decide that, during this time of day, it'd be better for that band to be over there, with the MOAS and the green heron stuff that's in the background, it can be all set up just by software. And you just tune an amp to the right place. If you're using a manual, or the auto-tune, the amps go right with you. Setup is done during pre-contest in the way that some, when we're talking in-band, there is some at this time need to make it so this table is only 20 meters. And so we'll decide that. Other tables will be able to float around it. The only trouble is it's a very complex setup. Marty can attest that when he has planned sleep shifts, he makes sure before he goes to bed that everything with that MOAS is working good. And if there's a problem with the MOAS, Marty's sleep doesn't happen. And so unfortunately, we've had to lean on him very heavily during WPX multi-multis here to come in after maybe only half an hour of sleep after operating most of the day beforehand. And let's say 0300 local, after 30 minutes of sleep, Marty has to be able to come in and diagnose a problem. So while there's a heck of a lot of increased station flexibility when the MOAS is in operation, it is one of only a few that are in use throughout the world. And so we do have to have somebody with the brains like Marty available to troubleshoot any issue that may happen. So if Marty isn't on site, MOAS isn't used here, and we go back to a pretty flexible system that was in existence beforehand using Green Heron Everywhere software. Marty helped me with coming up with a need for a great 8x4 switch on the receive side. And we reached out to Gary, K9AY, and he was willing to custom make a box for us with F connectors and basically 12-volt inputs that could be controlled via relay switches controlled by either GHE or MOAS. And when somebody wants to use the European beverage on, say, 40 meters, that particular capability is given to them along with a 40-meter bandpass filter that's in the box. And if somebody else wants to use the EU beverage, let's say on 160 meters, they can do that too, using a different port and with a 160-meter bandpass filter selected. So 4 stations can do anything they want, and each station has the capability of choosing which beverage they want to use, and a bandpass filter will be selected and placed in for their band to help with mitigating interference. He also added stack matches that were shown in the picture of the MOAS board. It was around the board. And those stack matches, along with AB switches, give us increased antenna switching that required those additional hard lines from the equipment shed. We call it the science project because one of the things that Marty really made clear to us is each time he set something up new, it was basically a one-off, and it was definitely an intellectual property that he added over here. The equipment shed upgrades. After IARU 2020, in which the Green Heron RT21 fuses were breaking throughout the contest on a 115-degree day, it was definitely noticed that the equipment shed built without an air conditioner and insulation was getting too hot. So I added insulation, and along with a box fan, that pretty much solved most of our overheating issues during this year's IARU. RG400 was added to increase interstation interference defense, whereas RG213 type cables, mainly 400 max, was used beforehand. I'm in the middle of replacing the 403A equipment. His bandpass filters and triplexers as they're failing. And when they do fail, I replace them with Pavel VA6AM's equipment. All the bandpass filters, it's not shown here, but all the bandpass filters and plexers have been giving 12 volts so that the equipment fans run during contests. This equipment shed is located approximately 100 feet south of my shack. And I basically call it the equipment that I'm willing to lose to lightning, if you will, as this all basically stays set up with the exception of the bandpass filters and the triplexers during monsoon season. And so down here, there's a lot of grounding added, but the entry box and a lot more grounding and ground rods is up by the shack. And I try to basically say, okay, this is my demarcation zone. Anything past this is what I'm not willing to lose, the expensive radios and amplifiers and computers. And so they're located 100 feet north in the shack. And the reason that I went with the green hair and everywhere equipment wasn't so much with remote in mind, but it was so that I could minimize the amount of control lines that go back to the shack, of which there are none. How does it work? I think one of the proudest ones we have is that during CQ Worldwide Sideband, we were multi-2, and we were able to finish #1 North America this past season. That's something that I never thought would happen at this location, be in Arizona. But we were, I guess we were kind of stupid in the way that, you know, we got on and we operated hard, and all of a sudden, here comes a #1 NA result. That worldwide sideband crew consisted of N6MJ, W9KKN, W6PH, W4IX, and myself. And this was one of our first multis here. This 10-tech amplifier was making so much noise that we decided to use some protein shakes to quiet it down. It's kind of an early picture of this past season's shack. During NAQP CW and sideband, the combined winner was Dan N6MJ, operating as ND7K. He was SO3R, which in his world means 2 bands, synchronized interleave QSOs, and a 3rd radio. He placed 3rd place in CW, with our contest member, AOCC member Steve, taking 1st. And fortunately, in sideband, he was able to take 1st place. Mike, let me know if you can hear this audio real quick, because I want to share with you guys a video I took of Dan doing 2BSIQ sideband. And I do not believe I would be incorrect in saying he is the best in the world at this time on sideband doing 2-band synchronized interleave QSOs. Mike, can you hear this?
Not very well, no.
Okay, well, I'm sorry about the audio level, but basically what's happening here is that as Dan is typing here, he's listening on this radio. He's one of the only guys I know that can hear something, understand it, while typing what he just heard over here on the left. He's typing on the right. He's understanding and processing what has already occurred here on the left, and he'll transition to the left as his ears are now hearing the right, and he's understanding through the QRM, through any atmospheric noise, etc., what the heck is happening over here on the right. And when he's done typing on the left, he'll go over there and input what just occurred. And while on Morse code, it's a lot simpler, because the same thing's happening on Morse code, But in sideband, he has to talk and answer whatever happened on the other side while he's listening to and trying to mentally comprehend what's happening on the right side. What this video shows with good audio, I'll try to post it on YouTube, is just how basically relaxed he is. And one of the things that put him in first place during not only the NAQP sideband, but also when he went down to TI and did ARRL DX doing this 2BSIQ on sideband, is his ability to process, retain, and execute, and not yell at the computers or the radios, but save his energy. And I guess it kind of shows in that we couldn't hear the audio too well because the guy is so cool, calm, and relaxed. So I'll try to post that on YouTube because it is one of those things that for anybody that's tried to do it, I think they really get the sense of like, wow, you know, how is this guy just remaining so relaxed and executing at such a high level that it ends up putting him in first place, hitting records, etc. Okay. Worldwide CW, we were able to place second in M2 for North America. And in sweepstakes, I don't have a picture of it, unfortunately, but we entered multi-single in both modes. And on CW, we didn't break the record by 1 QSO, our first year out. On sideband, I think the number was 16 QSOs that we missed it by. It was definitely under 20, but we didn't hit that record either. So one of the things that we set the goal of winning domestic contests. And one of the jokes that we have for ourselves is that, you know, hey man, I mean, we first year out without all the antennas up and first time trying this at RQTH, used a proven method that Dan and K6AM had put together of using 3 different radios interlocked appropriately to be in the multi-single category. And we're kicking ourselves because we didn't set the records. So, you know, I'm just happy that we won, but it is kind of that level of expectation that we're setting here at this station with some of the teams we're fielding as far as what we're capable of for the given, especially domestic contest. During WPX sideband, excuse me, one of the things I never thought in my wildest dreams that would occur is a multi-multi at this location. This place was not set up for that. I thought we'd be doing multi-singles at most. I mean, who the heck would want to come to Arizona in the middle of the desert to contest? Well, Bill, W9KKN, came on back. Chris, KL9A, Dan, N6MJ, these 2 guys I think don't need much mention. You know, they're W2RTC winners together. And then Levi, one of our young guys, K6JO, W4IX, John, a local, not pictured W6PH. We got together and we decided to attack WPX sideband as a multi-multi. We claimed 18 million points, and with a good insurance margin, that'll put us first place NA in that category with a new W7 record. During WPX CW, the same thing happened. People got together again, had a lot of fun during WPX sideband, and we had a couple of new additions to the team. Down here on the bottom right is Steve N2IC. We've got Dave N6AN here from California, Marco N5ZO from San Diego, and Bruce KN8, I'm going to forget his call right now, but Bruce came out from Georgia and was our young addition to the team. Here's Marty NN1C. And I mean, here we got some WRTC guys, some new guys, some old veterans, and we're enjoying ourselves a good steak and dinner that Chris, KL9A, is in charge of each time that he comes out. He smokes some great Silver Ridge farm meat from up in Montana and gives us a nice time afterwards. And we decided we were able to go ahead and celebrate, as again, we were able to claim over 18 million points in multi-multi, which should have given us for sure the first place NA and again, another W7 record. Lastly, during this past contest season, in IARU 2021, Dan was operating again solo as ND7K. He was single op, CW only, high power. He claimed 2.4 million points this year, which will give him first place in that category, a zone 6 record. And he also, if it was such a thing, he beat the, is it zone 5, one zone over to the east, their record. He was SO3R doing his 2B SIQ again. And this is something new. He decided to use N1MM, which is not something that we use, but he decided to do that because of the pans. The 7610s, the ICOM 7610s were able to send out signals to the computers and give us a visual representation of what was happening. And so he's unassisted, but one of the big things he was able to do is use the waterfall capability of N1MM and using, let's say, control up, shift up, etc. And he was able to jump from waterfall trace to waterfall trace and unassisted. And on that third radio, one of the big things that happened is it allowed him to go to 40 meters earlier than he would have, and basically jump between waterfall spot to waterfall spot, picking off multipliers at an insanely high rate when he was still running on, say, 15 and 20 meters at a good clip. He found that it was definitely a very, very nice addition during that time period, but he did also find that he liked to spin the dial and knobs on the 7610s at other times. So he found that it was a good use of new technology during certain parts of the contest, and that he reverted back to more traditional ways on that third radio, looking for other signals at other times. He'll be using this during CQ Worldwide coming up, and he hopes to be able to do a pretty good job, even though he usually does, but a better job during Worldwide with this additional technology. During that contest, his capability gave him first place in that category. And like I said, the new Z6 record. And I think that one of the biggest things that we learned from this is that this may be a new technology feature, that pan and the waterfall jumping for the unassisted operators to be able to do more in less amount of time while being able to run well on 2 bands. So the future will tell whether he keeps that or not. I think he will. And we hope to write a pretty good article about not only the IRU experience, but what comes up in the next Worldwides as he employs this. So what's planned? We're going to put up, meaning Hector and I, will put up a 4th 8-element 10 meter OWA to Europe at 120 feet. Want to get another one up there. And we're going to be installing a lower K3, one of K3LR's old 40 meter OWAs at 70 feet. Want to have more receive options. I think it's safe to say you can never have enough of that. And we should be adding a 80 meter K3LR 4 square, which is half of his old 4x4 that he had out in Pennsylvania. Now, the future replacement of our aging K3s with reliable non-latency issue radios that have high def pan adapters is on the plate. That basically rules out the flex. We don't find that the latency on there is acceptable at this level of contesting, though the boys have used it. The boys meaning Nate, N4YDU, Cam, and Dan, and Chris out in TI are using those flexes right now, but in most cases, they're finding that the latency is becoming a bit of a problem. And it's sad to say, I don't think that manufacturer is really in tune with understanding what high-level contesters want out of the radios. I have a Flex 6600 here, and I do use it for some operation, but for the most part, I've kind of agreed with that concept, and we only use it when we don't have a K3 or a 7610 on hand. Okay. Well, that's the end of my presentation. I was given 30 minutes. I think I went over by a couple. So Mike, what would you like to do from here?
Well, let's see, Tim, if anybody's got any questions for you.
Okay.
Tim, I have a suggestion on the rabbits.
Yes.
I feed my rabbits daily and they don't chew my coax. So
we have some hay on hand here, Bill. I've talked with my daughter who thinks the rabbits are cute. And I think 20 gauge shotguns may be more in line with this QTH's direction on that.
Another question?
I have one. Do you know what candidate radios you're going to be transitioning to when you transition away from the K3s?
Yeah, that's I think that's the question of the year, isn't it? And maybe even last year. I really like the ICOM 7610s. I believe that may be where we're going. What it comes down to is budget. If I had an unlimited budget, I would absolutely run all ICOM 7851s like K3LR. There's a good reason why he does. However, my budget is nowhere near what Timmy's budget is. And so what I'm looking for is something preferably in the $3,000 to $5,000 range per radio, preferably used. And I think if those ICOMs would stop holding their darn value so well on the 7610 range, I'd be buying them all day long if they were value priced on the used market. But I think that what I'm getting at is because they're holding it around 2,500, people are so happy with them that do have them, that are in that 3,000-ish range, that they're just not selling them off like crazy on the used market. And that's kind of what I gear towards is what can I buy used for a good value? If I was to buy new right now, it would be a 7610. And I think that's the honest answer. You know, maybe if I had $5,000 and if Elecraft would get those things shipped out, the K4s, maybe that would be it. But unfortunately, their ability to get them out the door is not like something that ICOM has. And so right now, I believe the end answer would be a 7610 if I have to buy another radio, without a doubt. Another question?
Hey, Tim, can you see me?
Yeah, Steve.
I can't help but ask you this question. So you said you might have you got sick when you were helping a neighbor clear a field?
It's possible that my pneumonia was either valley fever, and they're doing blood work up at UC Davis on that right now, which is a fungal infection from the spores in our soil out here, or it's a COVID-related pneumonia, which of course the hospital was exceedingly fast to rule without additional testing.
Right. No, I was going to give you a hard time, buddy. I was just going to say, I didn't know any of your neighbors liked you.
that has been something that's been big that's changed this year. Actually, I have a lot of new neighbors. A number of them were selling. I believe there's a big fear that the current president was going to cut out a tax advantage for selling a home in regards to capital gains. And so a lot of folks out here sold. Maybe it had to do with my antennas. I think it's all the tax thing. The new neighbors that moved in, though, they saw the antennas. They decided to purchase with the antennas there. And it's great. As one even says, I can't even see him. I guess she's blind, but who's next? Anyone? Well, all right, Mike.
Well, thank you, Tim. I know you're not feeling your best, but sure
Thanks,
appreciate
Tim.
you putting this together and giving us all the information about your system. It's fantastic.
Okay, well, hey, one last quip. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to do this again. And one of the things that I was real excited about with this August NAQP sideband last minute team put together, if you will, was how well the team did. It looks like they're going to take second place, which is amazing to me during the middle of our monsoon season. So everybody that was willing to get on and help out with that, thank you. And we did a wonderful job as a contest club with the teams in NAQP for January. I'd like to see that happen again to where we take sideband and CW. So if anybody can get on and really push hard during those ones, that would be amazing if we can win both CW and sideband again as #1 teams this year coming up. All right, everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna move on from that to something very basic. Most of you will probably laugh because this is a program I did for the Thunderbird Amateur Radio Club. They wanted something about basic contesting 101. So it's some of my content, and I'm not ashamed to say some content I stole from others, but I do acknowledge them at the end of the presentation. Well, I wanted to share and move on a little bit about just contesting basics. Some of it may be a good reminder for all of us. So let me bring this up. swap screens. Oops. Give me a second. Start. All right. Am I sharing my screen yet?
Nope.
No.
Okay. I need to do that. That would help. Let me minimize this for a second. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, we can see it now.
Okay. Good. I made it colorful so if any of you wanted to go to sleep, but hopefully it'll just keep you awake. 101 level contesting, the basics. This is going to be a very simple version, but explaining non-contesting, I'm sure we've all gone through this in the past to a non-ham or a family member. And you say, well, we operate for 24 or 48 hours. We log everybody we can hear, and we can see who can make the most contacts in the most states and countries. Well, so how do you know who won? Well, we have a sponsor. We send the logs in, they check them. Well, how much money do you get for winning? Nothing. Then why do you do this? Is it the cash prizes? Is it the admiration of family, friends, and coworkers? The groupies? Well, the groupies may be for K8, I'm alien, but the rest of us, no. It must be something else.
Yeah.
We do it for fun, and it comes in many forms. Personal satisfaction. Hey, I improved my score over last year. Hey, I beat K8IA. Hey, I don't care about anybody else. Cool band openings, finessing yourself through pileups, or being part of a team, like going out to Tim's or helping, doing a remote contest from someplace, helping your club win. And of course, peer recognition that comes from being good operators. So what are the 4 stages of contesting? Well, starting out, and we have some fairly rookie contesters in the club, getting hooked on the game and making it more fun, but there are right ways of doing it and the wrong ways of doing it, and then passing it along to others. Types of contests, I mean, you pick them, you got them. Domestic, DX, RIDI, sideband, CW, digital, QSO parties. And there's something for everybody, because not everybody wants to get in and do single op for 48 hours. I mean, the days of that for most of us is pretty much over. So there's multi-op, and that breaks down into multi-single, multi-2 transmitters, multi-multi. You can choose a single band, you can choose a single mode. There are categories within categories, like rookie categories and tri-bander categories, all wire categories, high power, more than 100 watts, low power, QRP. Mr. Gary N6WIN is our champion there. And assisted, using a spotting network, or unassisted, where you do everything for yourself. So read the rules ahead of time, determine how you want to operate. And if you don't remember, the contestcalendar.com WA7BNM gives you all 52 weeks of what's available. And so you can go there, look at the categories, choose. You can go to places like some of the sponsors and look at the records and say, hey, nobody holds a record in Arizona for 10-meter QRP. And maybe you enter that and get yourself in the record books. So I want to talk about unwritten rules for a bit. And this goes just as a reminder, don't make any prearranged schedules, identify frequently, don't ask friends to work you, at least not only. If they're going to work you, hopefully they'll go work 15 or 20 others too. Encourage club members to work everybody. We do that through our reflector. Do not work friends with multiple calls, and do work and spot stations equally. So contesters, non-contesters, we hear this a lot too. They don't like us, most of them at least, and we give them a lot of reasons. We CQ first and ask later if the frequency is in use. A few bad apples create bad reputation for all of us. Like contesters always run high power. That's not true either. We've got QRB, we've got 100-watt contests, we've got 500-watt guys who enter high power categories, and contesters take over all the bands. Well, there's some truth to that, at least segments of the band, but of course there's always those other bands called WARC, 17, 12 meters, 30 meters, 60 meters, or bands that are not all that occupied during a contest. So when you're confronted by a non-contester, assess the situation. Did I fire up on that frequency? Maybe there really is a net there. Are you overdriving your radio? Cleaner signals attract more callers. Compromise. Hey, I'll move up a little if you move down a little bit. Squeeze out some room. The bottom line is, try to put your ego aside, and because you want to figure out which approach is going to put more QSOs in your log.
That's unplugged. Ooh, look at you.
It's off and it's unplugged.
Yeah.
Added some things on contest and code of
Because
ethics.
this laptop wasn't able to handle the processing.
Someone needs to mute their microphone.
Well, you need to get a new one. then, I
Steve
guess.
Nace. Steve. There you go.
Okay, thanks. And this is basic, but it's like the DXC code of conduct. I will learn and obey the rules of any contest I enter. If no spotting is permitted, then don't spot. No second op or skimmer for single ops, off times per rules, using the correct output power. I obey the rules for amateur radio in my country, which is power, frequencies, and licensing, wherever you transmit. I will not modify my log after the contest. When it's over, it's over. Yes, if you made some notes during the contest and you need to fix those notes, that's, I think, acceptable, but no going back and listen to your audio and fixing things that you broke. I will accept the judging and scoring decisions of the sponsor, and I'll adhere to the DX code of contesting, even though it may be in a contest in your operating style. Listen and listen, call when you can hear the station. And always, if you see cluster calls, there's a lot of busted calls on the cluster too. Copy the call first, make sure you got it correct before you log it. Emergency situations, where emergencies pop up. We went through this recently with Haiti and the earthquake there, so stay away from those type of frequencies. To operate your transmitter with sufficient signal quality, which means mic gain set up right, not overdriving your amp, no splatter. And of course, at least in CQ Worldwide, they've added rules with language that specifically emphasize this rule of contact. They can, there's increased scrutiny with SDR, tapes, recordings, so they can determine who the worst offenders are. So I added this. How do you CQ properly? Well, if you're using a computer, a lot of us do, especially on RIDI and or CW, not sideband, but never use the lower your speed or add to your speed in your messages, not the CQ message. When a lot of guys will speed up to 599, but that's not the CQ. I'm talking about just the CQ side. It needs to be a constant speed. This is what what N6TV, when he does his presentation on the reverse beacon network, suggests how to CQ properly to get the most spots you can out of your CQs. So he recommends you can send CQ or test, send your call twice. Test, CQ your call twice, or you can use CQ your call twice and test. I typically, at Bob's or my place, I typically use CQ. Now there's some contests you can replace the CQ, like in sweepstakes, you can send SS, or in the North American QSL party, you can send NA. There's a few others that are recognized by the reverse beacon network, and you can get spotted that way. But if you just send, like in the CWTs, for example, if you just send CWT in your call, you're generally not going to get spotted. If you call CQ CWT, then you get spotted. Now, these are just suggestions. You can do what you want to do that works the best for you. But this is just from the reverse beacon network and how to make sure you get it spotted as many times as you can. Use proper spacing. If you're great on the key, on the paddles, that's fine, but don't rush everything. Skimmers typically will only spot you once every 10 minutes. So if you change your frequency slightly, about a half a KC, you can get spotted again. So logging, obviously gone are the days of pencil and paper. Most sponsors want to accept only computer generated logs these days. This is basic stuff, but logging submission is via Cabrillo file. Typically, every contest program that's available out there will generate these files for you. It can generate an ADF file for export and logging into your logging program. A lot of people use N1MM because it's free, pretty well supported. but there's others too you can pay for. Well, there's DX Log is now free. That's what Tim and his group uses. And there's paid ones like WinTest and N3FJP. So do your research on what makes the most sense for you. And most contests now require submission within 5 days or so after the end of the contest. You don't have 30 days any longer to get your scores in. Do's and don'ts. Contest exchanges are rapid. So, you know, if someone calls you, like someone's calling me in a contest and Bob calls me and it says K8IA and I respond K8IA 59 Arizona, respond just with 59 Arizona. I don't need to know your name. I don't need to know your country. I don't need to know your QTH. Just give me the report. Or you can sometimes you can say thanks 59 Arizona or Roger 59 Arizona, but short and sweet. Like I said, they don't need to know a lot of information. They just need your signal report and your exchange. Never use, and a lot of people do this, not in this group, but please copy as part of your exchange. I made a point of this at the Thunderbird Amateur Radio Club. Yeah, it's polite, but it slows down the contact rate and avoid a lot of cases you may not even get worked because nobody wants to listen to it. And obviously don't cheat. There's just too many ways this day and age to find out what's really happening. And typically I would have to say most US hams are not cheaters. A lot of that comes from other areas in the world there whose culture or thought process is different than ours. But even that's coming down. It just is too many ways to get caught. You know, if someone beats you and you want to find out more, ask to exchange your logs and do a check. See what they work, see what you worked. If you're getting clobbered on a specific band, figure out why. You know, a lot of times it may be just you don't have enough antenna. Review your log check and report to learn from it. And obviously you gain more satisfaction when you figure out what you're doing wrong and what you need to do to fix it. So station capabilities, you know, what does your station really work well for? What does your hardware do in terms of, do you have an amp? Are you a runner or just a search and pounce? Computer logging a must. What can your antenna farm do? And what small improvements can you make that will make the biggest difference? Maybe that dipole can get up another 20 feet in the air. Maybe the vertical could use a few more radials. Just things to think through to make your station more efficient. Now, this is my thought process, but what are the best improvements you can make to your station capability? Well, first is improve your operating skills. The better you get at that, the more QSOs you make and the faster you get. Technique, you learn from guys like N6MJ you just saw, and his technique of doing 2B SIQ. I'm not saying we all go out and learn how to do that, but if you can do SO2R or single op two VFOs where you can fill in some Qs on the same band in between CQing. Antennas are third because that's where you get the biggest bang for the buck, in my opinion. Radios and amplifiers fourth. You can do a lot with, you might do a lot with the TS2000 here. You know, it still works. And optional gadgets last. That's when you start getting more sophisticated and you're adding bandpass filters, you're doing SO2R, you're adding automatic switching and things of that nature. But that should not be at the top of your list. Learn how to operate right first and get better and then improve. Now, we've all done this. Prepare. You know what you want to do before you start. Do a dry run on Friday afternoon or during the week. You know, update your logging software, check all your gear. Label things, have your station ready before the contest starts. You know, I'm guilty of this in the CQ or the ARRL-VFF contest because I had everything set up to go. The contest started and I realized I wasn't keying WSJTX from within N1MM. And I messed around. I changed some things the way I operate because I had to then operate and log it and then have to merge ADF files for the first couple hours because I figured out I didn't have a second PTT set in order to get WSJTX to work properly. Now, if I had just tested it like I did last night before this morning, I would have avoided that 2 hours of aggravation. Submit your log right away, no log washing. Post your score on the reflector. Post your scores on 3830scores.com. Have a good time. I mean, this is why a lot of cases we do this. Yeah, we want to score well, we want to do well. And as you get better, your skills get better. The more you operate, the better you get. Raise your goals, build your station capabilities. Always think, what could I have done better? And encourage yourself to try different things and always pay it forward. Help your fellow contesters out. So I know I'm running through this very quick, but Yeah, I use materials from a lot of guys that are well-known in the contesting community. Randy, Larry, Dave, Ward, Kirk, Tim Duffy, Doug Grant, and Bob Wilson. And the bottom line is it's supposed to be fun. So don't fret over contests. We like all the scores, whether it's 1 QSO submission or it's 5,000 QSO submission. Doesn't matter. You know, we didn't build this club and we've got some fantastic operators in it who post very high scores. But we guys who get in and make a few contests and post your scores, and that's just as valuable to us as any other. So that really is my presentation. I wanted to see, cover some basics. I know I went through it very fast, and there probably wasn't a whole lot to learn from it, but I will entertain any questions if anybody has any.
I have one.
Yeah.
So one of my pet peeves, and I don't know how to address it, is the DX station who refuses to sign their call sign, but gets a continuous feed from the packet cluster. How do you deal with that kind of person?
Well, I will lose my patience. I don't say anything in the air, but if someone's like, for example, not IDing, like for example, on a consistent basis, after I call them a couple of times and or 2 or 3 times, I just move on. Now, I have the call sign on my band map because I had it in the call sign window. I can always go back later, but I don't like wasting my time when someone won't give their call sign. And I'm usually tolerant up to about 3 times, but a lot of DX, it may not operate for 10 or 15 queues that they'll make rapidly and never give their call. And I don't want to give them a call and then ask, well, what's your call sign? To me, that just wastes time. I usually just move on. I might make an exception if it's like a pop of 5, but it'd have to be pretty rare for me to want to do that.
Well,
I've got a comment. Yeah. This is something I do. I don't know if you can see it now. I guess you can't. After the contest, if I'm tired, sometimes I forget to do stuff. So what I've done is made myself a little checklist. I got a little stack of these and I put one out for each contest. And I do my housekeeping directly after the contest so that I don't forget to submit logs to somebody or put something up in club log or send my stuff to LOTW. That way I've got my little checklist, I get it all done right after the contest, and then I don't have to worry about missing something. Because I think a lot of folks have had the experience where they forgot to send their logs in on time, thinking that they had done it.
Yeah, fortunately, our score reporters are pretty good about reminding people that, hey, you're going to submit your score. Thank God, because there's been several times where I've just spaced it out because I don't have a checklist like the efficient Sandy does there to always remind me. So I usually try to do everything right at the end of the contest and get the score done. Then I don't have to worry about it. But there's been occasions where I get interrupted because the dogs want something, Judy wants something, or I got to go cook dinner, whatever the case may be, and I'll come back and do it and space it and it's gone.
Yep.
Mike?
Yes.
One thing that I now do faithfully is before I submit a log, after I've made the Cabrillo conversion, I go through that heading on that Cabrillo very carefully, make sure that I've got Arizona Outlaws Contest Club and that sort of thing in there. And years ago, I submitted a log without that, and it hurt the club.
Appreciate that, Dan. Yeah, that's a good point because, the club likes to get, all the points we can. I mean, there's a few contests that don't have club competitions, but those are minor compared to most contests. So, and honestly, I put AOCC, Arizona Outlaws Contest Club. Never use the abbreviation. You can fill this out automatically through a drop-down box because our club is in there. But use Arizona Outlaws Contest Club if you manually put this in because that's what's recognized in the system. But I do it for every contest, even if it's not a club competition. That way I'm just in the habit of doing that. Anybody else?
All right, another question.
Yeah.
Regarding post contest modifications, if you were looking at your Cabrillo file and you saw typos or bizarre characters like a pound sign, would you alter the logged call sign?
Generally not, because I don't bother looking at it because I don't want the temptation of of doing that. You know, I generally stick to the rule that if I made a note during the contest and I'm busy and I can't fix it during the contest, I will fix it right afterwards. But I don't go through my logs or go through the ADF file or whatever and fix things after the fact. That's me personally.
Although the modifications would be due to typos, not that you're listening to the call sign again. Or
Well,
something.
if it's a typo or where, I guess it depends on the typo. Let's say example, you've got somehow you typed in 2 calls at one time and you didn't get 1 call erased. So maybe you've got KC7VN7TU after that, and you didn't get the N7. Okay, yeah, I could live with that because that's a typo, and obviously you didn't work yourself at the same time. But just in my case, I never look at it after the fact, so I just submit it and don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I would say it's probably unethical though to fix typos after the contest. Again, like you said, unless you wrote it down and during the contest, because I guess the one thing there is part of the contest is making sure that you that you are keying everything in correctly and having the skill to do that. And I know during, it was mentioned in the radio sport book, I forget what the name of that book was, Contact Sport from WRTC, that I think it was N2IC's team actually lost a contact, which cost them 3rd place because they had keyed in the zone, WRT, the IRE zone instead of the multiplier correctly, even though they had logged it correctly, you know, earlier in the contest. So if somebody was editing their log, they might say, oh, that's just a typo and fix it for that, you know, so there's probably various degrees of that, but I would say that would be unethical, just personal opinion, I guess.
Good point. Thank you, Steve. Anybody else for comments or questions? All right, just a good reminder for all of us that you know, we like to operate above board and be professionals about it. And we've never had I've never heard a bad comment about Arizona Outlaws Contest Club. And we run a good ship here, and we've got great operators in the club, good people. So makes it a lot of fun. All right, so I'm going to move on here. I don't think I'm sharing my screen anymore. So I appreciate Tim, like I said, doing his presentation. I know he cannot be feeling all that good, but close that down here. I got double screens here now. I don't want that. So the next thing we've got on the agenda, let me take a look real quick because I just closed it when I didn't want to do that. Accomplishments. So, Bob, were you going to do this K8IA?
No, I wasn't.
Well, I think you should.
Oh, I'd have to go back to the website and delineate out the whole ladder year. Why don't you go ahead with it, Mike?
Okay, because I didn't write anything down for accomplishments, unfortunately, but I can say that, you know, Tim touched a little bit on this earlier, that in terms of NAQP and club competitions, there's I forget what the number is, 7 or 8 times we've won now as a club, or had the top scoring team within AOCC that won the club competition, or the team competition, not club competition, which is good because it just shows that you know, we're well respected. We've got, you know, guys from outside the area who pitch in because I think, you know, we've built a good reputation around the not only country but around the world, and so guys like participating with us, I think, and that's a good deal. Bob, I'm going to bring up, I've got some things saved here that I'm going to look at real quick because I didn't didn't think this through all the way. But I'm looking through my folder here on some of the scores that I've saved for the club finishes.
They're all on our website, Mike,
Yeah, they are. They're all on the website.
and they're all up to date.
Ah, well, cool. Then everybody can go there. I'll just touch on a couple. I know that this is from a while back, but in terms of, you know, like CQ Worldwide 160, which was back in December. You know, we finished 7 number UA and number in the USA and number 1 on the West Coast with 40 entries. And that's both most combined. And that's a pretty good effort, because we don't, you know, not everybody's going to be very efficient on 160, but we have some good scores from a multi operation from out of Safford that I participated in along with Lee and Ned and Fred, A7A, NA2U, and KY7M. And then Steve N2IC put up a big number, over 400,000. Ricky K7NJ up in Utah put up over 300,000. WD5COV low power put up nearly 300,000. And Gary, low power N7IR, was number 1 West Coast with 128,000 points. So that's a pretty good representation. The nice thing about the club is we do well, whether it's in domestic contests, in the VHF, UHF world. We represent pretty well too, because we've got a lot of guys. I know that there's guys that participate in another VHF club, but even so, AOCC still shows up relatively well in those categories. Any comments, Bob?
No,
Things that,
no,
that I'm obviously missing.
no, keep going. You're doing well.
Okay, I'm trying to close out my PowerPoint here. Because now I got everything, there we go. Now I got everything showing on 2 screens, which is not what I wanted to do. Okay, that fixes it a little bit now. And back to the, okay, there we go. I'm back in better business.
Mike, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Johnny.
I just thinking, looking at all the screens here and everything, all the pictures, you know, all of us know certain people that we're relatively, you know, we kind of touch base with, or we mentored a little bit or whatever. And I really feel that there are perhaps opportunities for us to encourage those newer contesters, so to speak, to submit their scores. I think that we could probably do a little bit better that way. I know I could, in regards to encouraging people to get their scores posted, even if it's 5 Qs or 10 Qs or whatever. It makes no difference when it comes to club competitions and all. It sure means a lot. So I would encourage all of us maybe to try to do a little bit better to get those we know, the guys maybe we've been mentoring or encouraging or inviting to be a part of this whole thing, to submit their scores, and how to do that. Some of them may not know exactly how to do that. So just a word of encouragement for all of us to maybe do a little bit better that way, or reach out a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely, John. You're right. And there are tools available. Of course, there's a lot of resources within the club, and always try to encourage everybody. If they're on the reflector, they can reach out with questions. You know, there's lots of them that people, you know, I know Bob does this often, tries to reply and help out with suggestions on where to go or where to look. But we all need to do our best in terms of helping others when they have questions about using a contest program, or how do I submit a log, or how do I do this ADI file, and how do I import them into this, and those kind of issues. You know, it's after you've done it for a while, it's pretty ingrained in memory, but not always. And especially newer guys and newer contestants that join the club that maybe only submit a few scores and still need help getting that done correctly. So yeah, we all need to be available and help as much as possible. Any other comments or suggestions? Okay, let's keep up with, submitting our scores. We typically are in the top 10 box most of the time on club competition. A lot of times we're close to the top 5. And I know we always try to beat the Northern and Southern California contest clubs. Of course, we don't have the number of members they have, so sometimes it's hard to keep up, but we still compete very well. So I encourage, like John said, everybody to remember to submit your scores. It doesn't matter if it's one QSO. Every point we get helps the club effort. So
Mike,
I'm going to move.
You want me to go through some of these on the website? I got the thing up.
If you got some more recent ones, please.
No, I mean, I just got what's on the website just real quickly because it's always a team thing. I don't have any individual things with me right now, but
that's okay.
On the website, you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. On the website, there's a tab called Accomplishments. I'll try to go through some of the last ladder year. 2021 ARR Ready Roundup, we were number 4th in the USA. 2021 CQ Worldwide 160, as you mentioned, CW and sideband are combined. We had 4.0 meg claimed. That's still going to be scored. ARR LDX this year, we had 21 million claimed. That's still being scored. WPX Ready this year, number 6 USA. 2021 WPX sideband plus CW being scored as far as I still know. 47 million claim points there. June VHF, I don't know if the results are in there yet, but we had 193K claim points. These accomplishments are current as of July 1st. I haven't done anything with them since then. Last year, going back, ARRL sweepstakes, we were number 3 in the USA. CQ Worldwide DX, both modes together, we were number 4 USA. CQ Worldwide Ready, we were number 6 USA, and on and on and on and on. So that's pretty much the major accomplishments over the past year or so.
Good, thank you, Bob. Appreciate you doing that. Yeah, there's what Bob was talking about as far as the club accomplishments, which is nice. I'm glad that Bob and Sandy keep this thing updated because it really shows, how well we do as a club nationally and internationally. So it's exciting to see, for a club that's, in its 12th year now, that or 12th or 13th year that we keep improving and keep ourselves relevant.
Sorry about
All
that.
right.
I was trying to share the page while it was while you were talking about it, and then it wouldn't let me unmute.
No problem.
Let's
Appreciate
talk
that.
too fast,
Thanks, Virgil. All right, Bob. Now it really is your turn.
Oh,
We're gonna talk about ladder plaque awards and things of that nature. And as Bob prepares to do that, again, I've got to thank Bob and Dave, AB7E. Dave puts just a huge amount of effort into the spreadsheet that gets very complicated. I know he's simplified it, but it's not simple to me. And I understand a little bit about spreadsheets, but not to the extent that he does. And Bob looks through it, makes sure any corrections are made. These guys put a lot of effort in. I remember when we started this thing, and every now and then we'll review it and maybe change some of the contests out to something different if something becomes more relevant, or something's dying out, then we'll make changes along those lines. But we had a good year, plaque winners. And the nice thing about the plaque is not only has it been copied by others to a degree, but it allows us to stay active in contests that maybe aren't part of the competition, but you can enter, as you know, if you enter 5 scores, you get ladder points for it, for a contest that maybe not on the ladder that typically counts. So we want to count for everybody's interests. So Bob, K8I, take it away.
Mike, you guys see this ugly slide? Am I sharing right here?
Yes. Well, it's not ugly because your picture's not on it, but everything else is good.
It's coming up. No, it isn't. Well, for your benefit only, Mike, for your benefit only, please copy my presentation.
I mean, that's Bob in the poster, right? One of those men there.
It is.
I am. Yeah, I'm the guy with the scowl on his face and mustache. Anyway, these are the plaque winners for this ladder year. The ladder year starting in June 1 and ending in May 31st of this year. We have 17 ladder categories, all scored separately and combined. I have category for contest activity, i.e. how many contests somebody has operated. We have a category for overall points. Single sideband, CW, and digital have their own separate categories. Low power, QRP have separate categories. All the 6 bands, the 6 HF bands, excuse me, have separate categories. VHF, UHF is a category. DX points are a category. Domestic points are a category. And restricted operation is a category. The real ladder guru here is AB7E. He's the guy that developed a very complex scoring spreadsheet. He's gotten it down to almost automation now. I do the QA, but my QA work now is probably a third to a half of what I used to have to do even a year or two ago. David's got this thing rocking really well. Anyway, we work on this for a while. Just before the roundup, we decide when do we have to have the ladder points done so Sandy can order the plaques, et cetera, et cetera. And I'd say Dave will probably spend a few days doing the final scoring. I will take maybe 3 to 5 days to do the QA on it. Sandy will post the scores, and then whoever the president is of the moment will get an email to the troops saying, here's the final ladder result. We had a little glitch this year. Up until this year, we were able to put the entire scoring spreadsheet, result spreadsheet on the website and have it sort by columns by the user. We have a problem with Wix, who we've been involved with for maybe 3 or 4 years. Sandy, correct me. I don't know that exactly, but they're our website. Go ahead, hon.
Since 2016, just let me make a comment on that. Something went wrong. They fixed something and broke our capability, their table application this year recently. And I have been working with their tech support folks. They have elevated it to their developers because it's really broken. So the best we could do for club members at this point is to post the Excel spreadsheet as a link so folks can download it and then use the little funnel sorting capability of Excel to sort on categories. I like to apologize to everybody. We did our best with them and they couldn't get it fixed in time. So as soon as that gets fixed, I'll let everybody know and get that cleaned up on the website.
Yeah, thank you. That's pretty much what I was going to say, but she said more words and said more depth.
More words. Sorry.
This year we had a ladder review again. We run this every 5 years, or it's been historic. We run this every 5 years. And KF7U Chuck was our ladder review committee head this year. Score reporters this year, K6LL, myself, K2VB, KF7U, N1JM, and N7IR. I've got KF7U and N1JM in red for a reason. KF7U is now doing 15 assigned ladder contests, reporting on it, yeoman's duty. N1JM even a little more. He's got 6 assigned, but John N1JM has to do the ladder contests that come up due to activity rather not on the list. So he has to kind of monitor every weekend and see if somebody at least had 5 entries in a specific contest that were not on the list, and then he has to report to those. Those are our 2 heavyweights in the score reporting business, but they get it all done, and that helps me out a lot. I was doing it alone the first year or 2, and no more. Okay, this year there were 46 listed contests, and we added 10 additional contests due to activity. In other words, 5 or more entries for a contest that was not on the list. And that's a typical year for us. All this contest score sheets, since time started with the club, 09 is on the website. Anybody can download and take a look and see how we've done in the past. A few years ago, we asked Outlaws that have won many plaques to maybe you want to step aside. you really don't have any more to prove, and maybe you want to opt out of the competition, let some other people get involved with receiving ladder plaques. And most of these on that list step forward for that exact reason. So that was that's kind of good. Lets us spread the wealth of the ladder plaques around to many other people. And just this year, AA7V, just a week ago, I think, or within the last week, announced his ladder retirement effective this ladder year. Excuse me. Let's start this thing off. That's good. Start this thing off. We have multiple plaque winners this year, as we do every year. Now, these are larger plaques. Sandy, how big are the multiple plaques?
Those are 8x10s. They're
the big ones.
They're nice size.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah,
big
8x10.
one. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, these are our multiple plaque winners this year. The big plaques, the 8x10s, except for N6SS, and I'll tell you why. Okay, our overall winner is our president, Mike, KC7V. Somehow he was able to get all those points, and I salute him. Oh, he was the overall winner, the CW winner, and the 160-meter category winner. Congrats, Mike. And most of his points came from these following contests. Yes, that's him half sleeping up there. If you notice, his eyes are closed. He's sitting in front of Sandy's radio on, I don't know, probably 80 or 160, listening to noise.
Yeah, he's listening.
His best years are listed. His best points for this year are listed. A couple of contests from here, N7AT operations here. A couple of contests from Safford, and one contest out from Tim's at N7DK. Those were his most productive ladder point contests this year. Also a multiple plaque winner, although he doesn't like plaques, is Prez N6SS. He says, send me certificates. So we have 3 different certificates for his wins in single band 10, single band 15, and a single band 40-meter categories. That's an old pickup, Prez. I don't have anything later for them. That's when, later for him rather. That's when he operated 40 meters CW for our W1AW Stroke 7 during the IARU contest in 2012, when we were one of the 2 headquarters stations. Anyway, those contests listed on the bottom are where he got his most productive points. ARRL 10, All Asian CW, and CQWPX CW, in various those 3 single band categories. Another winner of multiple plaque would be Tom N7GP. Unfortunately, wasn't able to check in today from the bar for his biker ride. But Tom won the domestic and the low power candidates, and that's also one of the big 8x10 plaques. And there's Tom, smiling Tom. He's always smiling. And his biggest contest this year was 2020 sweepstakes sideband. He was #1 in the Southwest Division. He got 720 ladder points for that, and 653 ladder points for the 2020 CQ Worldwide DX Ready. And for each one of 3 separate NAQP events, he had 600 points. So that put him well on his way to win both the domestic and the low power categories. Another multiple plaque winner, 2 categories, John W4IX, won the sideband and the DX categories. I didn't have a picture of John, but we pulled something out of the archives here, and I guess that looks kind of like John from the pictures I've seen, but I don't have anything here I could use here. John got most of his points from operating out at Tim's Place ND7K and those 4 contests listed. He's a very, very proficient CW and sideband contester, and it shows in his performance. I think I missed a slide here. I got a slide out of order. I can't be perfect. That's okay. Single category winners, N9NA, N7TY, AA7V, K7HP, N7RQ, KW7M, and N6HI. First winner, John Seatman, operating 44 contests this year. That's a lot of contests. He's very, very active. And that's John at his station. It's an older picture, but seems to work. And he operates out of Sun City West. Digital category winner this year was Bruce Thompson, N7TY. And mostly ready points. I think all of them were ready points. And that's Bruce and his best digital contest for those three contests. Steve Nace was our QRP winner again this year, QRP plaque winner this year. By the way, Sandy, how big are these smaller plaques? These are smaller.
These are 6x8.
6x8.
Nice.
Okay.
They're a nice size, yeah.
Yeah,
you win a lot. You could fit more of them on your wall.
Yeah. By the way, anybody's won anything, I think Larry K2BB is going to try to get these in the mail next week or two, and that's great. He does a lot for us in his treasury post, and picks up the plaques and gives me pictures of them and mails them out and does a lot of good stuff. Anyway, Steve A7V won the QRP category. I don't have a recent picture of you, Steve. I've got this one from last year. You operating VP2 Victor Whiskey in 2019 CQ Worldwide CW, and Steve made all his QRP category points from a single contest. Got to know how to play the ladder. 80 meter, our 80 meter winner. We've got single band winners here now. We're talking about our 80 meter winner was Hank K7HP. He won the single band 80 meter category. And I guess this is Hank operating 80. I don't know, but he let us use the picture. So Hank,
Yay, Hank.
Busy dude. Hank, that's probably like I am on 80. Like, who wants to listen to this shit? This is crazy.
And
Hank
still
made
he
all
wins.
these 150 single band 80 meter points by a single contest, also the 2021 Russian DX contest. Sandy won Sandy and 7RQ on single band 20 this year. And it's a picture of her at her station, which is about 6 feet to the left of me here. And she made all her 500 points via the 2020 All Asian single band contest. Lionel was our VHF UHF category winner, KW7MM. Also the chief honcho with W7MRF, the guys at NXP. I don't have a picture of him operating himself, but he did send along a picture of his remote setup that he operated DM44 with this year, and I believe somewhere last year as well, same setup. A well-equipped van with looks like a pneumatic tower with a bunch of stuff on there, 6 and 6 and 432 and 2. I don't know what the dish is for, but anyway, Lionel won all his points by 2 contests, the 2020 ARRL June VHF and the 2020 ARRL September VHF contest. John Rehak, N6HI, won our restricted category. By the way, AB7E, Dave is interested in more people contacting him about this restricted category. There's not too many playing the restricted category right now. John definitely is. And there's some other outlaws with HOA, severe HOA restrictions that could compete in this category and possibly win a nice plaque. Anyway, John won last year. He sent me a picture. I didn't get the picture until just before the deal this year, the Roundup this year, and I wasn't able to get it in here. But he operated here once, and that's pretty close to what I remember John looking at like. So it's John N6HI, and his usual antenna setup is, and I quote him off of every submission he makes, 1/2 watt to a 20-foot piece of wire thrown out my window into a tree. Now, if that's not restricted, I don't know what the heck is. So John did that. That's pretty much our ladder presentation. I do want to talk a little bit about the ladder itself. We did make some changes this year. This ladder review committee, we removed some contests, strictly lack of interest. We made a bunch of spreadsheets up over what the AOCC was interested in versus what people around the world are interested in. And we had to remove these 6 contests and we replaced them with other things. But these were the ones that were removed. And unfortunately, I think WA, or fortunately, WADXCW might show a lot more activity once the bands get a little better, especially the high bands. But both WADX contests were removed. New Mexico QSO Party, unfortunately, was removed. NA Sprint sideband, surprisingly, lack of activity. That was removed. All Asian and JIDX sideband also removed. They were replaced. And we did a lot of stats to get to the replacement contest. But some of these really deserve to be there anyway. They were 10-point contests for their, or 150-point contests for the past few years, some of them. Jarts Ready, an awesome Ready contest. Ditto Barted BARTG Ready. The Russian DX contest serves to be back on there. Certainly the Florida QSO Party. CQMM is an up-and-comer with a big activity base. And WW Digi deserves to be on there. So those are the ones were added. Some things were done with the rules as well. A few little things, features of the rules. Instead of any contest not being on the list and getting 5 AOCC score reports, and automatically becoming a 150-point ladder contest, we're going to roll the dice and assign 30 points per entry for the current ladder year for those contests. And some of these lesser contests that aren't on the list, that can have 10 or 15 entries, can be significant point contests. So that certainly drives people getting on for these lesser contests, we think. Also, Dave put in his spreadsheet, entrants are now able to opt out or opt in of any category. So if you've got a category, you say, well, I'm retired, but I'd really like to compete on 40 meters. He's able to do that now. So you no longer have to retire from the entire ladder. You can just say, I'm going to retire from the entire ladder, but leave my 40 meters scored in. And he can do that now with the spreadsheet. Anyway, it's easy to find his email on the list, but his email is right there, ab7echo@gmail. Contact him if you want to be on that for the year. And there's probably no hurry in doing that. You just need to contact him before he and I score this thing. So that's a good feature. Another feature, he's the committee has added a team category for members who sign up for a team like NAQP, participate in a multi-op entry, or join a multi-op DX contest expedition. You guys can be put in a category of your own in a team competition. Some adjustments are also made on the points value for various contests listed. That probably took us our most time and had some good arguments going in that one, but you can see the ladder list on the club website for the new allocations. There's not major things. There's little adjustments that we've done over the years, since this is the third time we've really looked close at the ladder and made some changes. And that's it, buddy and buddies and whatever. That's all, folks. Get us some more points, have some fun. Any questions?
Well, thank you, Bob.
Okay, Mike. Thank you.
doing
Thanks,
that.
everybody.
Good
We're
job,
running
Bob. Way to
Yeah,
go.
good job. We're running a little ahead of schedule, but that's okay. We don't need to go to 3 if we don't need to go to 3. Now, I would like to bring in Bill, K6WSC, to talk a little bit about Arizona QSO Party. Wait, Bill, do you need to share your screen?
Yes, I do, please.
Okay. Virgil, can you do that, or do I need to do that?
He should be able to right now.
Okay, cool.
Looks good, everybody? You see
Yes.
it? Okay, well, thank you, Mike. Welcome to the Arizona QSO Party presentation. I'm Bill Clark, K6WSC, the Arizona QSO Party Chairman. We will look at some statistics from the 2020 AZQP and the 2020 plaques that were awarded to AOCC members. Then we will look at what is new and exciting for the upcoming 2021 AZQP. In 2020, there were 367 logs received, which is more than 2 times the number received in 2019. There were more than 18,000 QSOs at 26 new contesters with a total of 3,685 stations participating, including 47 DXCC entities. This slide compares the number of logs received in the QSO parties of the Western United States. All things considered, this is a good showing for the Arizona QSO party. This slide depicts AOCC member participation in the AZQP over the last 4 years. The number of entries and the aggregate club score is shown for each year. Let's keep that nice trend going. The next slides show the plaques that were awarded to the AOCC members. The first is the Multi-Op Unlimited TX plaque, sponsored by KE1T and awarded to Vicky N6KLS and Tom N6BT. The Single Op High Mixed plaque was sponsored by the AOCC and awarded to Dave K6LL. We talked about Dave's phenomenal QSO points. So the Single Op High CW plaque was sponsored by the ARRL Arizona section, courtesy of Arizona section manager Rick.
No, he hasn't.
Can people hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Can hear you.
So it was sponsored by the ARRL section, courtesy of Arizona section manager Rick W7RAP, and awarded to Steve AA7V. The Single Op Low CW plaque was also sponsored by the ARRL Arizona section and awarded to Quinton NU7Y. The Single Op Low Phone plaque was sponsored by the University of Arizona Amateur Radio Club and awarded to Andy, KK7AC. The Arizona Club plaque was also sponsored by the ARRL Arizona section and awarded to none other than the Arizona Outlaws. Thanks to all plaque sponsors and congratulations to all plaque winners. In 2021, the AZQP will be held on October 9th from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. local. www.azqp.org is the new address of the AZQP. Also new for 2021 is that the Expedition Multi-Op and Expedition Single Op categories were each split into county line and single county. This was done to encourage expeditions, which are a very important component of the Arizona QSO party. In exciting news, the Central Arizona DX Association will activate the K7 UGA special event call sign before the AZQP and during the AZQP using the AZQP contest exchange. This is a sample of the AZQP K7 UGA special event certificate, which will be available for online generation. Details can be found on the K7 UGA QRZ page and on the AZQP website. The Amateur Radio Council of Arizona is the primary sponsor of the AZQP. However, the AZQP is always in need of plaque sponsors. The AOCC sponsors the AZ Single Op High plaque, and individual outlaws sponsor other plaques. The AZQP is greatly appreciative of all plaque sponsors. Don't forget to announce your planned operation in the AZQP. Click the Activate County button. Go Outlaws. All right, thanks for your support and participation in the Arizona QSO party. And if there are any questions, I'll take them now.
Good job, Bill. Thanks.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you, Bill.
Okay.
Appreciate that. All right, I left the last 40 minutes or so, and we may not take all that time up, but I wanted to leave it open for discussion about contesting and things of that nature. If anybody's got something they want to say or promote, But as a general reminder, I did want to say, this weekend really marks the beginning of the contest season in my mind. We have the Worldwide Digi now, which falls on the last weekend of August. You've got Worldwide RIDI the last weekend of September. You've got Worldwide Phone the last weekend of October. And then you've got Worldwide CW the last weekend of November. Of course, stuck in between all of those are Sweepstakes Phone and CW. There's a Calc USO party. There's numerous events every weekend, really, between the end of September and at the end of the year. If you want to keep busy on the radio, that's the time to do it. We're obviously hoping that, as conditions get better, as we approach the fall equinox, that we start getting openings maybe over the pole to deep Asia. That's always a fun thing to do on 20 meters at night when the band's open, or, being able to run Europe, for example, maybe not run, but be able to work Europe again on a routine basis, maybe on 15 meters. That would be a nice little coup to have back again. And even hopefully get some life on 10 meters as we get into the fall season. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of the ladder contests are racking up and getting ready to go. So there's going to be plenty for you to do, plenty of contests to get in. And, even like I said before, even if it's only a couple hours here and there on a weekend where you can maybe make 15, 20, 50 Qs or something like that, get the score submitted, have a little fun and enjoy it. We're certainly hoping that, like I said, the flux will start to show some life. Of course, when flux shows life, there's always spikes in the A and K index too to interfere with the fun. But there should be some pretty good days coming this fall, I would hope. And maybe this contest season will give us some life, like I said, on 15 and maybe even a spatter on 10 now and then to pique our curiosity, pique our fun again, and maybe uncrowd 20 meters a little bit. So does anybody have anything they want to add to these comments? Well, you're a fine bunch.
Yes, we are.
No, it's a good thing. I know that, from my plans, nothing like Tim, but, I'm hoping to get the tower permit soon and get started on getting at least one tower in the air, getting some antennas up. I've got like 13 antennas up now, but they're like R5, R7 wire verticals, 2 meter stuff, 432 stuff. The highest of any antenna I got's at 23 feet, and that's a 7-element 6 meter Yagi, which performs pretty good at that height considering, but that should improve for next E season for VHF at least. And to get at least a tri-band or some type up at 50, 60 feet and be able to join the real world of contesting. I try to get in on the Wednesday CWT, which are CW ops. By the way, you don't have to be a member to participate in there. You can get on. It's an hour CW sprint from 6 to 7 in the mornings on Wednesday, from noon to 1 on Wednesdays, and from 8 to 9 p.m. local on Wednesday evenings that are fun. I know Fred's been in there a bunch, and Lee KY7M, who's not with us today, mainly because he's on vacation in Santa Fe, I think, or someplace over that direction.
It's 1 hour.
So yeah, it's a 1 hour thing that's really fun. You can go anywhere from, even with my little R5 and 400 watts on 400 to 500 watts, I can still work 80, 90 Qs in an hour. I don't hear like the guys with Yagis, because the one time I operated from Bob's doing that remote, I racked up 159 in an hour on 20. So it's fun. It keeps your skills in practice. You don't have to be perfect, but it's a good practice if you like CW. So, and then even though it's not a contest, it's pretty much like a contest. A lot of guys are doing SO2R, SO2V, and these things to practice their skills, and are pretty good at it. And you'll see rates, or you'll see CW speeds anywhere from 20 to 40 in there. So there's a lot of high speed guys and a lot of low speed guys, and tend to run around 35, 36 words a minute. So not too fast, but fast enough to keep my satisfaction, yet guys even slower. And I will slow down when I need to call in. So just something to think about if you like just a little practice. That's a great way to get in. And there's DX on these things too. I work JAs every Wednesday, typically a couple of JAs. Don't hear much Europe with what my setup is, but the one time I did operate from Bob's, I worked several Europeans in it in the 1 hour in the morning. So it's there. You know, Fred, you do this quite a bit, so you can attest that there's DX, and Fred will get on from K6 every now and then and operate from out that way.
Yeah, but it's more fun to do it from Safford. A couple thousand miles makes a difference.
To Europe for sure.
Well, they have another set. They have a fourth session now at 0700. I haven't been up at that one yet because I have work on Friday mornings. But
yeah, they have
it might be a good one to work some European on 40 or even 80 meters maybe.
Right. There's a slow speed one. K1 USN. I don't.
Yeah, the SSTs are on Friday afternoons at 3 and Sunday evenings at 7.
Okay.
Those are a lot of fun. For those, I don't know, everybody that's on right now is pretty proficient in CW, I think. But
nice.
I think there's a couple of guys in the club, right, that are new to CW like myself. I've only been doing it for like 18 months now, and so the SSTs are nice for those of us that are just trying to get better.
Yeah, there's before a lot of contests too, particularly digital or RIDI contests, and sprint contests, there's practice sessions that usually run like on a Thursday or something like that, maybe sometimes on a Friday, depending on when the contest starts. So if you're unfamiliar with the procedures, that's a good place to go practice ahead of time for a little bit, and to know what you're doing so you're not figuring out at the beginning of a contest. So that's another option too. I know RIDI happens quite often. There was one for Digi this past week. There's usually one for Sprint. And so they're just good practice sessions. And so I encourage you, if you want to work on your skill set a little bit or just get familiar with how the contest goes, that's a way to get in easily. Anybody with anything to add?
I have one thing. I haven't added much to the resources on the website lately. If any of you find any broken links ever in the resources, or you have new resources for contesters, especially newer contesters that we can add to the website, please do forward them. N7RQ@yahoo.com will get them to me. But I'm always trying to make sure that we have something available for the newer contesters to look at and use for, reference or, something to help them get started. I don't think we have enough digital stuff on there. So if anybody has some good stuff for that, because I'm not a digital contester, so I'm probably not the person to choose items for the website on that account. So any help I could get would be appreciated there.
Yeah, speaking of WebMob Sandy too, we always encourage station pictures, your antennas, or you sitting in the shack. These rotate on the AOCC website. It's always good to get pictures of everybody. So, other than the once a year where you might be either see them in person or see them here online, it's another way to put a name with a face. And if you like to mess with Sandy when she's sideband contesting, she gets a lot of characters or call her. Last year I called in. She didn't recognize me at first because I called her as Willie Billy 7 Hillbilly Willie.
Really?
And I know that
Like,
just
oh my
gets her,
God.
like, what?
I heard about that in the other room.
I get a few lonely hearts during the contest that don't realize that I'm their grandmother's age.
Or they're guys that haven't washed and bathed in 20 years.
There's always a couple.
I resent
Anyway.
that.
I'm sorry, Sandy. I couldn't resist.
That was awesome. Thank you. I do have an exterminate button that I could use now, so
Yeah.
beware.
Well, I know with all the things that going on at Safford, and Ned can talk to this if you want, but they got a pretty good fall contest season, I think, planned. A lot more capability than they had last year.
Yeah, it seems so frighteningly fragile. So, I mean, we have this internet problem, and it's like, well, now what do? You want to go fix some internet company's router configurations, or
Oh, no.
it just all of a sudden we're getting ping times of 3 seconds. So you turn your knob on the radio, and 3 seconds later, the audio changes in your ear. And tuning in a CW signal is a little tricky when you do that. And it just came out of nowhere. And so now I have a new job, which is to go fight, network pukes to figure out what they did, or, because they're going to say, well, you get your download speed you paid for, to the tower over there, but it doesn't connect to the internet very nicely. So it's, it's just a steady barrage of issues that you got to keep fighting. I know Tim and I talk a lot about network station architecture, and his station is, live bodies go into a room, and that room is connected to a bunch of antennas, and it does all this cool stuff. Our approach is, we're renting a broom closet and putting some antennas on somebody else's property, and we can't tell them we want to add another tower without working on it for years, and we're not there when something's wrong to fix it. So it's wonderful, it's great, but it's just it's fragile, and got to plan. In fact, I just recently invested in a camping trailer. I'm going to start taking my family camping. And I'm also thinking now, well, in case the station goes bad, I can camp out there and operate the station from my camper. And it's going to get down to stuff like that. But it's not all roses, It's just a constant battle.
Yeah, it's a frustrating experience. I have slow connectivity at my house, and every now and then, and I've been fortunate when I've remote into Bob or even out to Safford a few times. Generally, it's pretty decent. I can live with it because it's, I'm relying on your uploads out there, not so much mine here. Now I do get crackling and popping and drop stuff from time to time.
But get used to that.
You get used to that. You just ask for repeats. But there's nothing more frustrating when you experience those things, because you got this now very capable station of a 2LM40 up high and a couple of tri-banders in good condition and nice spacing, and now you can't use them.
Yeah,
at least very well.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm gonna start making some phone calls this afternoon and see if I can get to work on this problem. But just didn't need that this week. Just it all piles up.
Yeah. Now, hopefully you guys can figure out what the heck the issue is and get it fixed and get back to more normal operations again.
Yeah. All right.
But appreciate the update.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else got any updates you want to share?
Yes, I'd like to add a supplement to the K7 UGA operation in the Arizona QSO party. I came in at the tail end, got bumped off, and finally got logged back in right at the very end of what Bill was presenting on it. And that's going to be a group effort. John N6WIN is the team leader. I'll be one of the operators. We've been mentoring Davis, Alpha Golf 7 Golf Bravo in CW operation. And he's coming along. We went out and did a field day operation at Davis's house in Wickenburg. And Tim was kind enough to give us a tour before he got sick of ND7K. Super impressive to stand next to those towers and go woof. We're also having Bob K7 Bravo Hotel Mike as one of the operators. We're kind of weaning Bob off of paper logs. Remember those? And introducing to N1MM. It's kind of a general process here. Bob has been paper logging for half a century. So we have a little bit of a learning curve there, but we've been working on it with him. And John and I have been discussing relocating the operation to his cabin up in Payson in Gila County. That hasn't been confirmed yet, but that's in our plans. Right now, the plan is an all CW operation, and we're going to make a decision the day of or the day before whether or not we're going to introduce sideband into it. We're probably going to have 3 full-time stations going on, 100-watt stations. So we're looking forward to it. Davis is coming along as the CW operator during field day. He was able to copy exchanges at 20 words a minute. He's been working with Morse Runner and really endeavoring very hard to increase his capability. Because I think he started code about 10 years ago, and he's been doing it sporadically, and he made a leap from 10 to 20 words a minute. He's real pleased with what he's doing, and he's showing lots of promise on it, and he's very avid in terms of contesting, especially on CW. So between that and Bob and trying to retire his paper logging skills, we look to have fun.
Sounds like a great operation. I know that I've been talking with John because I'm the trustee for K7UGA, but he's going to handle the LOTW experience for that. So we've a couple things he and I need to do to on that to get prepared.
Yeah, John and I had a radio day yesterday, and it was punctuated with our obligatory trip to Manuel's for lunch. So he filled me in on some of the details on what you guys have been going through and trying to get the LOTW situation squared away. So I have great confidence you guys are going to work all those details out, and Bob's going to have fun filling out all those QSL cards for the few that do show up. But yeah, we're trying to preserve it as a unique call and preserve some of the perspective that CADXA has had all along on the usage of K7UGA.
Right. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
I know a lot of the guys and gals on here are members of CADXA as well as AOCC. If you don't know, there is a repeater now, CADXA repeater back on the air, 147.32. I don't remember what the tone is, 123 maybe, off the top of my head. I don't remember exactly, but it's down in Mesa, and I can't. I've heard it a couple times here, but just so scratchy I can't copy anything. But until I get an antenna higher, I won't be able to get into it. But it's available, it's open, so I don't think CADXA would have a problem if AOCC members wanted to use it from time to time too. Other than that, I saw Ray N6WIN. You're back on here, aren't you?
Yes, I'm here.
I haven't talked to Bud in a while. Any update on his tower hunt? Do you know?
Yes, he's buying a tower from Preston N6SS that he got from Vince Thompson's estate. So he's going to buy that, and he's working on a crane for pickup and set it up, and this thing's been laying on the ground for whatever time it was at K5 VTs and at Preston's N6SS's house. So he's going to have to rework it, look at the bearings, the cables, and so on and so forth. So I volunteered to help. When time comes, I'll be there. I think he's on vacation right now. He and his wife went camping again, I believe.
I thought he's on permanent vacation.
Well, he's got a little tiny camper. Ned probably knows about it.
That's cool. Thank you, Ray. For those that didn't know, Bud had an 89-foot crank up that the cable snapped while it was fully extended. And it came down, and Bud recognized it and ran like hell, so we didn't get hurt or anything of that nature. But unfortunately, the antennas and the tower have to all be replaced. The base is in good shape, so it doesn't have to do a new base, just has to replace the tower. So sad, but Bud still found a way to get up a 5-element 6-meter beam at about 20 feet and still was working grids at the end of the summer. So good for him. Anybody else want anything they want to share?
Yeah, I just want to mention something. I've not been active in contests at all lately. I just don't have the drive, and I need some oomph to push along with it. Although I will probably operate the CW sprint, which I've done for almost since it started. If anybody's interested in wanting to operate my station, it's here. I have floor towers and verticals and all kinds of stuff here. I get out quite well. I'd be willing to put somebody up here one time. Before IX came up here one time and did a fairly good job for a WPX contest. But get a hold of me offline and either phone or call me if anybody's interested. I've also got a lot of, I wouldn't mind some help with antenna repairs, rotators, and fixing a few things here and there. I'm an old fart too, and it's not as easy to do things like I used to.
Well, thank you. That's a very nice offer, Ray. Hopefully someone here will take advantage of that. And, you know, if you don't have a great station, you want to operate, yeah, Ray's got a very good station. So it's, I can attest, I see what he works.
Got a question for Ray.
Sure.
Go ahead, Owen.
Ray, if you can put an email out to that effect where you're, can give the details where your station's at and open it up to folks, that'd be awesome.
Okay, well, I'm in Chino Valley, just north of Prescott. I've got 2.5 acres on my house, and then I have the adjacent 2.5 acres. So I have access to 5 acres, and I've got antennas starting to spread over to that other property.
Oh, twist my arm to go to Prescott. Oh, or north of Prescott.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put out an email and give a few more details on that too.
That's awesome. Thank you, sir.
You go to myqrz.com. I've got a little bit of a write-up of the antennas, no pictures, but write-up of the station.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Ray. That's spectacular. But I don't have anything further on my end. And if anybody else got anything else I want to share, speak up now, or I think I'm going to close it all up and move on.
There he is.
Hey, Mike. This is John, W4AX. How you doing?
Hey, John. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for the awesome presentation. I really liked it, even though I was late to the show. But I just want to thank all the guys out there that have, given me an opportunity to work their stations over the last couple of years. I really appreciate it for everybody that did that. So, and I also want to what N7GP does.
You're breaking up there. Oh, we lost him.
He's done.
Figures when I talk, I lose signal. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yep.
You're back.
Yeah, temporarily.
Figure.
Nope.
Signal. Isn't that great?
Yeah, you're in and out right now, John, and we got to thank you. I know I've operated with you out at Tim's place, and when we did VHF contests together, so I know the quality of op John is, and he's a good guy to go with it. So it's a nice combination.
Gosh, losing signal.
Yeah, it sucks when you're driving. It's tough.
The only other thing I want to say is what an awesome job Tom N7GP does as a rover there in that ARWRL contest. That is fantastic.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Truly amazing the numbers he puts out for that contest. Thanks, Tom.
He is amazing.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
How he
Thanks
get
for
all that
that.
stuff in his truck is one of these days I'll have to get him to do a presentation to the club about his roving experience and how he packs it all in and how he operates and all that good stuff. I know a lot of you guys maybe not be in the VHF, but it's still an interesting topic from a contest standpoint, just to see how he does what he does.
Definitely. Hey, are we still on for sweepstakes from Tim's?
I believe so, but it probably depends on Tim's recovery and his family recovery and my getting revaccinated, quote, again. I did get tested. I from what I can read, I don't know it read perfectly, but it doesn't look like I developed really any antibodies against the virus. So I've been laying very low right now until those of us who are in the quote in immunocompromised stage, which means I had a kidney transplant 8.5 years ago, and because I take anti-rejection meds, they did not allow the antibodies from the vaccine to develop. And so it suppressed that, which means I'm still like an unvaccinated person, but I can get a booster. I'll be talking to my doc next Wednesday morning to find out and then go hopefully get a third shot and hopefully develop some antibodies from that. So I'm not too anxious to go and operate anywhere yet until that issue gets resolved too.
Sounds good, Mike. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. All right, guys. I'm sorry again we couldn't do this in person, but this is the next best thing. We had a lot of folks on today. I appreciate everybody taking the time to share their name and calls and a little bit of chat here and there. I know Tim's presentation was outstanding. Mine was so-so, but hey, took up a little space. I thank you all for showing up. You know, I'm hopeful down the road that maybe it depends on the use of Zoom, of course, but you know, we typically don't have meetings as a club. And Bob and I have traveled in the past out to Yuma once. I went with him to meet with the guys out there, or maybe take a trip up to Prescott, but that's been on hold too because of COVID. So maybe we can do an occasional Zoom meeting where we can have a small presentation, everybody get together. Not a monthly deal. We're not gonna do that, but maybe a quarterly or twice a year or something along those lines that we can put together, get everybody together on the computer and have someone do a little quick program and share that way. Don't know what you guys' thoughts are on that, but that's at least one of the things I'm thinking about for the future. Other than that, I'll say 73 to everybody. Thanks for attending. Thanks for coming in, and hopefully had a little bit of fun today. It's KC7V. I'll see you all later.
Good
job, Mike.
Good job.
73 guys.
73 is good.
73.
Thank you, Virgil.
Yeah, thanks, Virgil.
Thanks, Virgil.
Yeah, Virgil.
Thanks, everybody. Good day.
73.
Good luck in the contest.
Check your contest. Anybody else left out there? 73 guys.
73.